Welcome to the War Business Podcast, hosted by Matthew Bruneman, the author, Brendan Clark, your consigliere for all things war, and Dakota Maynard, the Appalachian war wizard. War is a business. Some would even call it a racket. Every modern war and every business has a carefully crafted marketing image. The War Business Podcast breaches that veil so you can hear the real stories of the average Americans who fight our wars and drive the war industry forward. Our mission is to tell the stories of conventional warriors. Let the captains of the war industry share their endeavors and inform the listeners of current global conflicts. All three hosts served in the United States Marine Corps and hold well-informed perspectives of war and war business. This concludes your introduction. Stand by for the episode.
All right. Well, Joe, this is Matt. That's
What's
Brendan.
up, brother?
Hey, it's nice to meet you, fellas.
These are
Likewise.
my buds. They were devil dogs too, so they know all the funny shit.
Very nice.
Yep. And then the whole thing's based off, like, the name of the podcast comes from Matt's book. I know I was telling you about that. My mom's been reading it, and in there, she's always wanting to know, like, she was asking me, she's like, I haven't got to the next chapter. Does Diva die? And I'm like, no, Mom. No, he doesn't die. Just read the book. But she's all into it right now.
Diva
Like,
falls off a power line.
I'm like, no, he doesn't die, Mom. But it's pretty good. It's funny. All the classic Marine Corps shit. We're trying to take it pretty serious, so I created a Twitter account. I was going to be like totally off social media this year.
Mhm.
So I wanted to create an account and be GrizzDipper69. That's my Twitter
Nice.
handle. But I left out the fucking R and Grizz, and it looked like I was JizzDipper69
Oh, God.
for the past few days. So I had to correct that real quick. But
The old jizz lipper.
I was like, God damn it. Because I had some storm chasing friends come in from El Paso. He's Army already. He's been Army already for like the last 14 years. And he's
Nice.
like, I'll follow you on Twitter. And I was like, all right, man. And I'm like, he's like, what's your handle? I'm like, Grizz_Dipper_69. He's like, I can't find it. And I look, I'm like, fuck, I've been JizzDipper69 for the last fucking 2 days. I wanted to run away. But my wife wouldn't let me.
Thought that was intentional.
Fucking-
No, I wish y'all would have fucking said something. I'm sure
I
Brendan
did.
probably.
I immediately said it in the chat. I
did,
immediately,
yeah.
I immediately pointed that out.
You
I
said
thought,
nice work.
I
thought you were like,
no, I said JizzDipper69, nice work. I thought that was because you were going along with my Twitter handle, which has been cum sponge for 2 fucking years. That's
No.
why I said nice work. I literally was like, wow, finally.
no, man, I wanted to be Grizz Dipper for Grizz, which is too damn expensive to dip. So I'm on the Zens. I'm sure y'all are too.
Bro,
Yeah.
no, fuck
Oh,
that.
damn.
I'm on fucking Grizz, dude.
Oh, shit.
I got a new client this month. I'm out here. I made of money, homie. I could buy a fucking Malaysian baby at this point. Like,
I think you should.
I fucking might, dude.
Matt, what are you on? Some California free clean needles or what?
Fucking hemp, dude, is
Yeah,
fucking
Mons.
dumping.
Right now it's Lucy's Breakers.
That sounds like a dominatrix place where you go to get dominated. Like,
Yeah, it's like the Camel Crush of Zins. So you have your flavor, but in there is a little capsule, and if you choose to break it, you get more of that flavor.
That's right. I think you gave me one when you came in.
They're fucking delicious.
what flavor is it?
This one is mango. I have some just mint on the shelf.
Reminds me of Camel Crushes. Y'all ever smoke one of those back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's why I'm not good at running now. But those were a big deal back in the day. But anyway, Joe, it's a lot of joking and just bullshitting, and then it'll be like however much percent serious you want to make it, to be honest
Oh,
with you.
yeah. I like it,
Doesn't
man.
matter.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm gonna later on ask you about Oklahoma. Feel free to give your honest thoughts, okay?
Will do.
I
Yeah.
know you spent a little bit of time in the armpit of Oklahoma, and I'm curious about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brendan may be offended by that, so be careful.
No, I don't like fucking Lawton Fort
No,
Sill either.
nobody does. Nobody does. How anonymous you want to be? Because I know you got your law stuff going on. We don't want to fuck that up.
No, I'm not worried about it. I'm a criminal defense attorney, so I think I'm actually doing them proud by being here. So
Okay.
full anonymity.
All right, welcome back to the War Business Podcast, folks. Today we're going to do an interview with one of my childhood best friends, who is basically like a brother to me, Joseph, aka Dirty Joe Wyatt. Joe and I were rowdy kids who both found our way into the United States Marine Corps, which I believe afforded us a second opportunity in life when I feel like most folks from our hometown had written us off as bad apples. Before we dive into your interview, Joe, I have a few questions for you. The first one is, do you think Tucker Carlson can bench 135 pounds?
I think he can. Yeah,
Oh
he
my
kind
God,
of
come
looks
on,
bigger
man.
on TV. I'd be surprised if he couldn't. Maynard.
I don't think he could. I don't think he could bench 95 pounds. Just my take on it. Um, I think Matt and Brendan think he can easily bench like 305, the way they talk about him. But I don't
I
think he
just
could.
think it's ridiculous that you don't think he'd at least bench 135.
I think it's insane that you think Tucker Carlson is not a credible source of like journalistic information, but you think that these motherfuckers in Oolagaw poisoned a Bigfoot with a antifreeze hot dog.
Yeah, dude, I do. I don't think they had anything to lie about.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Do you think you could bench 135 pounds, Joe?
Yeah. I think I maxed the other day at not great, like 235. So I mean, we're getting there.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Remember back in the day, dude, like in high school, like that bench press max was life, like you didn't want to tell your friends, that you couldn't do like at least 205 or something like that. You look like a weenie.
No, it's all that mattered. Yeah.
All right, next question for you here. Do you think Tucker Carlson could handle a pinch of grizzly wintergreen?
Yeah, he's big into the Zen stuff. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna have to run contrary to you again because he's taking 6 milligram lippers like on airplane rides, very public about it. I think a pinch of grizz would. I don't think it'd phase him.
Maynard, the way you're structuring you're talking to a defense attorney, and the way you're structuring these arguments, you're forcing him to take
My God, you're
side
right.
against you, bud.
I didn't think about it. I mean, I imagine he puts in like a pinch of grizz and he's like, "Ooh, grody," and he like takes it out. He's like, "I don't like this stuff, guys." That's how I
Tucker
see it.
Carlson's position on Zen, if you use the brand Zen, you only shove that up your ass and you don't put it in your mouth. So take that with a grain of salt.
I guess Tucker Carlson's my number one top fucking enemy then.
Wow. I don't know. I don't think I would ever keister a Zen unless it
I
made the
would,
flavor
dude.
last longer or something.
I
That was a
would.
big thing on Reddit like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, people talking about it.
I started that trend on Reddit after I went and got checked out by the MEPS doctor for pleasure, not for business.
Been there.
Now the Mets
Mr.
doctor.
Clark, why have you tried to enlist 27 times?
See, we keep turning you down. You keep coming back. You got to stop coming in. I've been tipping the security dude at the front of the OKC MEPS $5 bills. He's just $5. That's all it is. Each visit, pow, 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 and he just lets me in. Actually,
Like,
long story, like real shit though. I went to MEPS for work, like not military, but like civilian professional stuff. And they were talking about how you like this is like 2022. This is a Biden time frame. They're talking about how you can enlist if you're HIV positive now. They're like, we need you can just come on. You join up because we'll take you. And I'm standing there like, dude, I touched those Navy dudes. I probably can re-enlist at this point. I don't know if that changed because that was when the like enlistment shortage was occurring. Sorry, quick sidebar. Moving on.
well, Joe, thanks for that. That was totally unrelated questions. I do have a is it true question for you, and it's kind of tradition to do these each episode. This one cracks me up, but is it true that your brother almost died during a catastrophic cooking rock explosion.
Yeah, that's true. We learned the hard way that if you take a river rock out of a creek or any body of water, I assume, and put it on top of a fire, it'll get really hot and explode at some point. Almost killed us. It was kind of like that shell shock game that we used to play on PS2. Everything kind of slowed down in time. I don't know if anything after that's actually a simulation and we did die. I don't know. I got some theories on it, but
Just
yeah, it is
remember
true. It
seeing
is
your
true.
brother's hair. His hair was like blown back, and I remember seeing like that 5 pound rock like scrape his face on. We were cooking some tactically acquired egg rolls
You know?
that we had got.
Did the
Brent,
rock explode or like crack in half? Like what was the
No, it
state
exploded
of the
like a hand
rock?
grenade. Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
a
Oh
hand grenade.
yeah.
yeah,
that fucking
yeah,
rules.
yeah. Lesson
Yeah.
in life. Yeah, if you're wanting to cook on a rock, use a dry lander. So if nothing
Yeah,
else comes out of this, that's a good point.
the old
Yeah,
dry
for real.
rocks.
The old dry ones, yeah.
It's a bit of an educational episode for our listeners who may have never thought of that. They might get a rock out of the river and be like, I'm gonna cook on
Yeah.
this thing. No, it'll kill you. Don't do it. Avoid
That's a
that.
survival tip. Other survival tips, do the tourniquet until it hurts and then do it one more.
You know.
And don't do it on your neck.
Do it, yeah, anywhere else, really.
All right. I'm going to introduce you here a bit, Joe. So you served in the United States Marine Corps. You achieved the rank of corporal.
Correct.
You served from 2012 to 2016 or
2011 to 2015.
Okay, that's right.
No.
You joined, I think you went to boot camp in like what, November? It was pretty
Yeah.
late in 2011. I remember when you called me, I was in E-school and you're like, I'm joining the Marines. I was like fucking hyped. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Good on you. So you were an 0844 fire direction controlman.
Correct. Correct.
Is that like smart artillery? Like if we're talking
Uh,
about RDMOSs?
yeah, I wouldn't call it smart artillery. So you got your gun bunnies on the line, and then you've got like a little tent, which is fire direction. So you shoot artillery, or we did at least on a system called a FATIDS, AFA which is basically like some computer program that you can look where the rounds are going and keep a record of it and stuff. So it was kind of the dorky part of the artillery. But yeah, that's what I did. Um, and enjoyed it. I like the artillery. I think it's an interesting MOS. King of Battle.
Yeah. No, it's cool, man. They did some cool stuff for us in 29 Palms where like they shot this smoke screen. And it was like the rounds were impacting in the air, like all at the same height, like same distance, and like I guess put down like the smoke screen. I was like, dang, that's cool. But then it was super loud.
At ITX.
Yeah, at ITX.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
East Coasters, we went to Fort Bragg and did a lot of stuff with 82nd, and so and we'd send guys to ITX. However, I kind of got chucked into headquarters battery, which is always kind of a bummer for me. And since I've gotten out, I've kind of come to terms with it, because I wanted to do the high speed stuff. That's what I joined for. But really, my time was nothing cool or tactical, and so it was a lot of appeasing very high ranking dudes who kind of freaked me out all the time.
Oh, it's all
Appeasing,
good, man.
you say. What do you,
Like,
What's that?
how do
what do
you
you,
appease?
how do
Does it
you,
involve prostate play or
what
like
do
where
you?
you?
You do what you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
We've all been there, brother. We've all been there.
No, you're good, man. Don't feel bad about nothing. My stuff wasn't cool at all either, but um, it's just good to hear from like different MOSs. Brennan was a an engineer with me at 7th ESB, and
Nice.
then he was radio repairman before that.
I very
And
nearly went, I very nearly went to Fort Sill
Oh,
for my terminal MOS training. They got us all in a big box when I was in comm school in 29 Palms, which is fucking like you went to Fort Sill, dude. I'm sorry, but like I went to fucking 29 Palms for 10 months, bro. Like my heart goes out to you, but like reciprocate. Anyway, they got us in a big box and they're like, "Hey, who wants to go to Fort Still?" And I was like, what did he say? and he's like got like six hands. And he's like, all right, you guys are going. And I went up to the platoon sergeant and I was like, what fort are they going to? And he's like, Fort Still? It's in Oklahoma. And I was like, bro, Fort Still? Can I go to that? Because I'm from Oklahoma. Like, I'll go see my grandma and shit. And he's like, no, we already got the names. Turns out, even the field artillery Marines at Fort Sill have a better time than the comm Marines at Fort Sill, apparently. Like the comm students, the 2887 students, apparently it's just fucking miserable the entire time they're at Fort Sill because they get treated like redheaded stepchildren of the Arty training battalion or whatever. And so one of my buddies did go and he called like a week later. He's like, yo, this fucking sucks. They secure our phones during the week. Like, we can't go anywhere. We can't leave base. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Anyways, I gotta go, man. I'm going to LA. Like, see you later. Very
Yeah.
nearly.
Matt was cool though. Matt did all the cool and tactical cool stuff. That's why he wrote a book pretty much. Like if you do that much cool shit, like you pretty much have to write a book about it. So that's what he did. What was your MOS again, Matt? O2.
0231 intelligence. Did you guys have intel guys at headquarters battery?
We did. We
Yeah.
did. So, and I had to work in the S shop for 6 months, which was really shitty. But looking back, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, and kind of adjacent were the intel people, and they were really cool. I became friends with one of them, and good guy.
In the
Would that be
S2?
the lowest echelon of arty that an intel guy would go to?
Now that I don't know, I don't know, and I don't really know what they did. They're kind of
Yeah,
like,
I don't know either.
I would say
yeah,
probably
it's like,
probably
but
like a weatherman thing mostly. Probably like a weather. Hey, it's gonna rain on your artillery today. Hey, it's gonna be sunny on your artillery today, if I had to
Yeah,
guess.
the intel guys, we would pull all the METOC data from weather Marines, so they would just be briefing you on stuff that they got. They wouldn't be compiling that, but I bet, yeah, that probably was a big part of training exercises, stuff like
I'd say
that.
so. And artillery has its own MOS that is just radar, and we had those guys too, and it was cool. They'd fly their balloon, and I thought that was really neat. I always assumed Maynard would find that neat,
Oh
do it in
yeah, for
a Marine
sure.
Corps setting.
Yep. I had my own little tornado experience, like the most weather related thing that happened to me in the Marine Corps. We were in the Philippines and a little like small tornado, like a little what do you call it? It'd be like a little button tornado like appeared and it blew out all of our caminating. Our two-man tents went everywhere. And we're like, God damn it. Like, why? Why does this have to happen?
Would you
Yeah.
call it like a little rascal of a tornado?
Yeah, little rascal,
Okay.
just like at
Okay.
the worst time, like we just got back and then now all of our shit's like blown everywhere. And you're like, motherfucker.
Speaking
Why?
of tornadoes in your storm chasing days, I was at Costco earlier and I saw outside they were selling advertising, but they had a one of the new Subaru Foresters
Oh,
out
hell
there.
yeah.
No, it was an Outback. Which one's smaller?
Well, probably the Forester. Forester's like the SUV type.
Yeah, so this was pretty freaking big. So I was wondering, with your
Crosstrek.
experience in like Subarus and
Yeah.
lesbians,
Uh,
is it getting bigger because lesbians are getting bigger, or do they
Mm,
have a different reason behind that?
mm.
That's a good
I'm
point.
gonna assume it's because the lesbians are getting a little bit bigger,
Yeah,
but
that's what I thought.
no,
Oh,
I love my Subaru.
I had a quick lesbian question.
All right.
If you're a female to male and you didn't get bottom surgery and you're dating a chick, is that a hetero? Which one is that?
You're gonna have to Google it.
I'm gonna have to ask Reddit, dude.
Think
They'll know it for sure, dude.
you're still a cannon cocker at that point, aren't you?
Ho, 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 got him.
Little
Nice.
artichoke.
Nice.
Oh, shots fired, dude. Back pass area clear.
All right, I'm gonna get us back on track a little bit here. So you were with Headquarters Battery, 10th Marines. No combat deployments, all good there. Um, you said you didn't have any notable awards, but did you get your good conduct medal?
I got it. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
snuck
Well,
right in there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're welcome for my service. No,
Hell yeah.
I was. Yeah, I was a three ribbon warrior, and stayed on Camp Lejeune, and it was odd in headquarters because they would randomly send you to different trainings. Like I went to Bridgeport for mountain warfare training, and I'm like, what is this? But it's kind of like they were trying to find stuff for us to do throughout the year, and I don't know. It was interesting. We went and trained with MARSOC in Virginia, so I tell people got a lot of good training, just never really got to practically use any of it, which was hard for a long time, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to be just like a regular Marine, like everybody else. And I think one of your questions in there was, would you have stayed in? And I think about that regularly because some of the guys I was with did stay in, and they got all the cool ribbons, and a couple of them went to Syria and had fun. I'm like, should I have done it? And I don't know. I don't know. To this day, I don't know, because it set me up. The Marine Corps did because, like you said, I mean, went to high school, was not a great high school student at all. Barely graduated, failed algebra two so many times. They told me I wasn't going to graduate. Went to the Marine Corps, and then it changed my whole outlook on life. Now I'm a barred attorney, and it's just it made me like it made me a man, I guess is the best way to put it. And at during my service, I'm like, man, this sucks. I hate this. But looking back, I wouldn't trade it for anything, and really wouldn't even trade what happened because it's like, yeah, I got chucked in headquarters battery, but being a Marine it changed my life, so I'll always be appreciative of that fact.
Yeah, you put your name in the hat. I did too. You just didn't get selected to go. Um, so I mean, some props for at least putting in your name in the hat. We were
Yeah,
just
I
in some
think
weird
it
years.
I think it makes you like just in general, I think being in the Marine Corps, being whatever, makes you less comfortable with sucking, you know? Like if you're like sitting and you're like, man, I suck. Like what do I do about it? Like a lot of people will be like, "Ah, guess I'll just keep sucking, better log into Reddit." But like people that spend a lot of time in the Marine Corps, spend any time in the Marine Corps are like, man, I suck. What can I do? Okay, well that's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna start tomorrow. I'm gonna start, and then you go and you do better things. And I mean, like my experience, my first 2 years in, I was in a non-deployable unit, and like you, I joined the Marine Corps to freaking get some. Okay, so I'm in a non-deployable unit waiting for dental surgery for 2 years, and I'm like, dude, I gotta. This sucks. I got to do something about this. And like having feeling that and feeling the like it teaches you resolve and how to use it better, I think. And that's, I mean, when I went to college, it was the same way. I'm sure it was the same way for Maynard, same way for Bruneman. Like all of us were basically fucking delinquents, you know, like through school. And then you learn like how to quit sucking and how to use your resolve, how to develop resolve and then use it. And then next thing you know, got a bird dog. I have multiple Nalgene bottles with stickers and shit on them. I think that's pretty cool. And I got a pickup.
It compels action, I think.
It
There
Like
you
does.
go. There you go.
And we'll get
Succinct.
more into it here. I think Matt's gonna lead us through some of your pre-service questions.
yeah,
I think he's interested in what he's about to ask you next.
All right, let's jump into the first question for pre-service. Has nothing to do with service, but if you could partake in any battle in human history, what would it be and why?
the Battle of Saipan, and why. Artillery did play a big role in that, but I think the physical features that they had to contend with in their island hopping campaign, and of course, it was a big battle for 10th Marines too. 10th Marines in the 2nd Marine Division, very proud of that battle. And the Mariana Islands at that time, they were integral against Japan, and it was just a show of force that Japan had never really had to reckon with, and the Marines went in there and they kicked their ass, and to me that is awesome. But a lot of it is navigating those terrains with the amphibious landings at that stage of the war. I think it was 44 that they went in there, and so yeah, Saipan would be my choice.
Why that island of Marianas in particular? Because it was the first,
I would, yes, kind of.
or just like the Marine Corps lore of Saipan?
Yeah, a lot of it is just the Marine Corps lore, and two, it's like, yeah, it was cool seeing those old pictures and the battery. What do they call that? The battery office and all that. And I don't know, it was always interesting to me. And you're right with the lore. I think that's a perfect way to phrase it.
Yeah, for sure. Throw some shade on the Army fellas out there. Are you familiar with what happened with the Army division with respect to the Marine Corps out there?
With kind of like how Nismet and the other guy didn't really like each other, and yes, somewhat, but not enough to really speak
Yes. So
cognitively on it.
I guess like on a high level, the Marine Corps was on one side of the Army division that was in there. So the Army was in the center, and as they were trying to clear Saipan, the Marine Corps on each side was just whipping ass, and they were days ahead of the fight from the center, which would be the Army. So the Marine Corps kept having to halt so the Army could, catch up. Not only them catch up, but the Marine Corps, the flanks, the Army wasn't locking down the center. So the Army became a vulnerability to the Marine Corps out there. And then this may be the first time, but the Marine general um, relieved that Army general, which was, you know, big because you have inter-service rivalry like really starting at that point since, a Marine just fired an Army general. I guess it sucks to suck to join the Army.
Right, and to that point, I think it's interesting that you bring that up because the Marine Corps has always had to kind of fight for its own survival. There's been books written on it about how congressional action and stuff is basically asked, why do we need a Marine Corps? And it's instances like that that show exactly why we need a Marine Corps. And yeah, that's a great point. Great point.
Yeah, it's always the saying is something like that. We need an army, we want a Marine Corps.
Right.
And I guess you could bill it differently. You need a Marine Corps too. Um, but maybe that's just pride speaking. But yeah, I guess the Marine Corps is a service of choice in terms of budgets and dollars. But when it's all fake money anyways, is there really a choice? Um, another another part of Saipan that I find interesting is Japan effectively being one of the winners of World War One. So they weren't really a belligerent in World War One, but Saipan and the Marianas, but Saipan was part of Germany. It was under German control up until World War One, and then once we broke Germany up and whatnot with the Treaty of Versailles, that's when Japan came in and scooped up a bunch of those islands and made, Saipan a big problem for the Americans 20 years later.
I'm gonna jump in real quick. We had a
Yeah, go
Marine
ahead.
from Cab who was from Saipan, and when the Mew went to Guam, we floated by Saipan, and he was like, you can almost see my house from over there. He was like giving us the scoop about Saipan, and then we had like floated by the suicide cliffs where all the Japanese civilians had thrown themselves off, and we're like getting the history lesson from like the local. It was kind of cool. We got to see it, never got to go. Thought that
Yeah,
was an interesting
suicide
mission.
cliffs, and I don't know if, I mean, a lot of them were forced thrown off too, because it wasn't that, I guess we read it as Japanese civilians, but you had a bunch of like Guamanians and Okinawans and, non-Japanese people that were there working all the whatever crop the Japanese were using for Saipan. Those civilians were working there, so many of them jumped off and many of them were thrown off those cliffs.
Is it sugar? Was it sugar plantations on Saipan?
Sugar, that's right, sugar canes, yeah.
I think Saipan is tight, and then we can move on after this. But I think Saipan is tight because it's like the most Marine Corps of the island hopping piece. Like the Marines are out front. You got insane amounts. This is by this point, like landing vehicles tracked and like amphibious doctrine and tank support with Shermans and flamethrowers and all the greasy, dirty, violent Marine Corps attributes you think about when you think about World War II that were just piece parts in these other battles. By the time Saipan comes around, the Marine Corps is like, what if we put all of the nastiest shit on one island and just let the dudes wreak immortal hell on that island, and then it'll just be Saipan is what we'll do with that. And then they did. My God, the number of photographs of like flamethrowing tanks on Saipan is oh, you'll love to see it. Napalm sticks to kids, smells like barbecue, tastes like ribs. Moving on.
Where are you from?
I'm from Crossville, Tennessee. It's kind of edged in there between Nashville and Knoxville. Western Appalachia is what I like to say, but yeah, Cumberland County, Tennessee.
How did you and Maynard meet, or how long had you guys known each other?
Well, our sisters were friends, and I don't really know when we met. And we go back so long, I'm not sure. Probably met in diapers, and just always knew him. Always a cool dude. He's always around because our sisters hung out together.
Hey, you're under oath here. You don't have to
Yep.
say he's a cool dude. All right.
Yeah.
We're already friends. You don't got to lie to kick it. Come on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm from not Appalachia and not a small town. So what was it like growing up there?
Uh, I mean, typical small town living. I mean, you had a Walmart. A lot of people went there. And of course, it's got its downside. It's got a bad drug problem. Not a whole lot of money comes through here. Prior to us getting a Bucky's, we got a Bucky's, and that was a big deal. So, I mean, I'm rolling in Bucky's dough. But no, just small town living. Didn't have a middle school. It was small enough to not rate a middle school, I guess. We went from elementary school through kindergarten through eighth grade. I know a lot of the guys that I served with thought that was weird. Some stuff I never thought was weird that now I think is weird because people pointed out, like child beauty pageants. I had a buddy from New York that I served with. He's like, that's so strange and odd. And growing up, like you don't really think about it, but it had your typical like Southern quirks, I guess. And of course, mountain land is mountain land. It's very mountainous. A lot of four-wheeler riding, a lot of stuff like that. A lot of beer drinking.
I think the beauty pageants used to be like a southern, like it used to be like a charming, like Meemaw's got the grandbabies and take them down and doll them up or whatever. And then when TLC got a hold of it is when it got so weird and
Yeah,
so creepy. And they're
yeah,
like this is what's the freaking Honey Boo Boo, dude? Like this is
yeah.
Honey
It's
Boo Boo.
just yeah.
Yeah, like prior to that, it was pretty smooth sailing for child beauty pageants back to like 95 or 6 with the John Benet Ramsey thing, whatever. But before that, it's like Meemaw's got the grandbabies. We're gonna put some, it's funny. You put the kids in some makeup and shit, and you go down there and walk them around, and they get like a ribbon. And then now, thanks to Honey Boo Boo and TLC, like super weird.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Maynard, what place did you place?
Real
In
question.
yeah.
Oh, dude, I was Miss Congeniality every dang year. They just like me because of my personality. Y'all know I got a lovable personality.
There's a
Um,
handsome set of ankles on him too.
that's right. Yeah, now I got one that's 25% bigger than the other one. That might
And
not look
growing.
good. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that plate sticking out.
Did you
We'll
show
see.
Joe this? Did you show this to Joe?
I'm sure he's seen it. I don't know if I've ever showed you my ankle. I'll probably pull a muscle I just worked out right
I
before
love
this.
this.
Here we go.
This is my favorite part of
Slipping
every
this
episode.
thing out a lot here lately.
Yeah,
Oh,
Steph's got to cut a short of this so we can,
yeah, dude. Him schlepping out the freaking
My
hardware.
I
God.
did name the screw Pokey because it's poking out. But
Nice.
yeah, dude, there we go.
Joe, for your reference, dude, if you go fishing with him at the public docks after about your 19th Coors Light, he'll let you touch it and it'll make you gag.
Yeah.
I'm going to take him up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, I don't know if
you
you know. Every guest we've had so far, which is now one, we've invited to come to the public docks when it warms up. We can jockey for a seat on the inside fishing area against the local. They're not really locals. What do you call those, Maynard? The people that come and keep all the fish and put them in a plastic Walmart sack?
the drug addicts.
The drug addicts, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can kind of try and shoulder the drug addicts out of the way so we can get a good crappie fishing spot.
Nice.
We'll have to
All
take
right.
it.
All
We're
right.
close
So you
to
said
it.
you joined in 11? 2011?
Yeah, 2011.
What made you join?
Hold on, before we get started, before we move on, there's something I want to elaborate just to talk about some of the stuff that we used to get up to in Crossville, if that's okay. All
Please.
right.
Yes,
All
please.
right. So Joe and I were members of the Junior Rescue Squad in Crossville, and believe it or not, we did rope rescue classes. And I am terrified of heights, but back then we did that and hanging off a friggin' I don't know how high that bluff was. It was probably like 300 feet or something like that. And we would do rope rescue, and that was wild. Looking back, I don't know how I did that. I think like my hands will sweat like thinking about being in an airplane, but we did the junior rescue squad and we met a lot of our buds like that. Or I don't know, it was just a good time. Like every week we were hanging out at the rescue squad building, smoking cigarettes, being the juvenile delinquents.
Was this like a sheriff program or something, or what was this?
Basically, like hunters would get lost, more or less. Like hunters would get drunk and lost, and then there would be like call outs, and then the rescue squad goes and finds them. Mainly what it's used for, or after tornadoes too. Like there was a tornado, I forget what year that came, went through like Sherwood Farms and all that, and we went and cut all that debris out with the chainsaws and stuff. And
How old were you guys?
14,
Yeah,
15, 16, yeah, young.
Okay.
14, yeah, around in there.
All
And Joe
right.
was older, so he drove and had a Suburban, and he'd be shuttling us around. Um, just good times with that. But the rescue squad was fun. We used to go caving quite a bit at an old Confederate saltpeter mine, Saltpeter's Cave. Pretty good times there. We left your brother that one time, and I still feel super bad about it.
Yeah,
I'm sure
okay.
he
Did he make
remembers.
it out?
Yeah, I don't know why no, he made it out. He just wasn't happy about it.
That's good. That's good.
I don't know.
Abandonment issues. Those kind of persisted.
We left him. Joe mentioned a lot of four-wheeler stuff. So we used to, he had four-wheelers on his property, and we would do what was called Mexican snowboarding, where they had these like $5 plastic snowboards you could get from Kmart. And we had a couple of those, and we'd put like skateboard jumps out in the field and like haul ass in the four-wheeler. And then one time our good buddy Ethan was doing it and he hit the jump, probably going like 30 mile an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he landed, he broke his arm. And first date I think I've ever given in my life because his arm was, he's like, I think I broke my arm. And it's like in a W shape, up looking
Oh,
all weird. And
gross.
then we like put his arm on the snowboard and I wrapped it up, but we didn't want to get in trouble about it. So we had to kind of tell a little bit of a fib that,
Hey man, you're gonna have to lay low for like 4 to 6 weeks till that heals up. I don't want mom or dad to see.
well, his mom was a nurse, and but like if they would have known that we broke his arm on the four wheeler, we probably wouldn't have been able to use the four wheelers anymore. And then, so we are like, "You broke it skateboarding." We like had to stage this skateboarding accident so we wouldn't get in trouble. I don't know. I think about that often. That was some of the funner stuff we had. It was a blast though, until he broke his arm. We used to do boxing. I don't know if you remember that. A lot of after school, just boxing for fun.
I remember.
Yep. Uh, that Robert kid? You remember that time he whipped the shit out of me at Luke's? Because wasn't he like some Golden Glove boxer? He beat my fucking ass.
Yeah, he's like some kind of kickboxer or something. And
Yeah.
if you should have been supplied with that information beforehand. But hey, yeah, you fought the good fight. You swung, so that's all that matters, you know.
Yeah. Like one of a million times I've had my ass kicked. Ice pond swimming. Not
Yep.
for sure if you remember that in the wintertime when the little pond that they had would freeze over. We'd take a big rock and we'd break the ice and then we'd just jump into the pond.
No.
Not sure why we did that, but I learned a valuable lesson that cold water fucking sucks. And so it like takes your breath away. So I felt bad for those people in the Titanic, like after I watched that movie later on.
Oh God, yeah.
That's what I had to say, dude. Cold water, like ice pond swimming, it make you tough, but it may not
Yep.
make you any smarter.
No, definitely not.
No, we idolized the Jackass movie people too much, probably when we
Real,
were children.
real.
So we were always doing stunts and being idiots. But I'm glad we did. I think it toughened us up a little bit because we were getting injured quite a bit. And then you introduced me to rat hunting, which I thought was fun. And so now I always make sure that I have a box of 22 rat shot in my gun safe. Which
Yeah.
for That was crazy because we just basically do mount in the chicken house, like you throw the door open, shine the flashlights like the rats were scattering, and it's like pow, pow, pow. Shoot 'em with the 22. But just good times, dude. We had a blast as kids. Did all sorts of funny stuff. Anything else you remember? Those was like some of the highlights as I was thinking about it this week. I was like taking notes of like just some of the fun stuff that we used to do as kids.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you hit it pretty well. Just country ass living, you know.
For sure.
Do you have kids, Joe?
I do, and that kind of leads into the initial question of why I joined the Marine Corps. So I was that guy in high school. You know, everybody has the scare. It's like, oh man. Well, the scare for me was the real deal. So I became a father very early in life. I was 18 years old, and she's 15 now, driving. It blows my mind. But when I was thinking about going into the military, I was working at a factory, graduated college, was doing horrible in community college, and I'm like, I gotta find something out of here. I gotta do something with my life. I would look around at some of those older guys in the factory, and I'm like, I don't want to wind up like him, all hunched over and not really anything to show for it. So I'm like, this guy and talked to, and I think honestly, and I may be dramatizing this with my memory, but there was a Marine recruiter who specifically like picked out Maynard and me, and I don't know if it was a look about us or what, but this was in Walmart, and he's like giving us a card, saying, "Hey, I think you'd be a good fit" and all that. Well, I didn't call him back, and it started working a regular job. Well, I got to thinking and thinking and thinking, and something about that guy. I'm like, you know what? That guy had something. And I didn't know anything about the GI Bill or any benefits. All I knew is I wanted to get the hell out of Tennessee. And that's what I did, and never really looked back. And that was the best thing I ever did for myself. It was the best gift I've ever given myself, even
Did you
though it sure.
talk to any other branches?
No, no, I didn't consider them, didn't consider the Navy. And honestly, I was not a very knowledgeable kid. Maynard can attest to that. But I couldn't have really told you the difference between the Army and the Marine Corps at the time I joined. I mean, it was one of those things, no research, no anything, just send it. Let's see what happens type deal. What about you? Do you like give it a good thought, or did you put any kind of particular emphasis on the Marine Corps over other branches?
I didn't talk to any other branch. No, I didn't. I just always thought knew the Marine Corps lore. Didn't know anything about Marine Corps history, but it was like, oh, Marine Corps is tough. That's what I'm gonna join.
Yeah,
Uh,
And
they kill
Matt
that
thought
dragon in
his
the commercial.
recruiter looked amazingly handsome in his dress blues.
What's that
And
S
that's
word that he used to describe his recruiter? It was like schmexual or something.
something like
I
that.
What'd
think
they,
it
what'd he
was
say?
succulent is what I had said, but
Succulent. What crime am I being charged with? Enjoying a succulent Marine recruiter?
So
no, I
that's
was
how
just taking
Matt
the
got
ASVAB
succulent.
in high school, and the whole, all branches were there administering the ASVAB, and my recruiter was the only Marine there, and he was in dress blues. So I was like, all right, that's it. I'm
But
done.
the blues were snug.
He was like, "Sheesh, that dude puts the ass and ass vab in those blues." Like,
That's right.
hey,
That's right.
a little
What
binos,
about
a
you,
little
Brendan?
field
How'd you
bino.
wind up there?
Dude, I didn't want to join the Marine Corps. Like I wanted to join the Army until I was in like the 10th grade, like forever, because my dad was in the Army. And I was like, I'd just be like my dad. It'd be cool over there. And I had a classmate that was like, I'm gonna join the Marines when I grow up. And so I was always hanging out with him doing stupid shit up until this is when I was younger. It's like middle school, 9th grade, whatever. And his mom was like, "Why don't you join the Marines?" And I was like, because those dudes are tough. And the Army is not that hard. And the Army was probably tough, but not that tough. And then years went by. I talked to an Air Force recruiter. And then I like ghosted the Air Force recruiter, I think in the 11th grade. So I was too young. I was 16 in the 11th grade. And then when I got done with high school, I got kicked out of the house and I withdrew from college and everything else. I was like working at a shit gas station job. And yeah, dude, my buddy was on recruiter's assistance and he was like, "Come talk to my recruiter, dude. I'm trying to get promoted to PFC." And I was like, "All right, bring me a pack of Marlboro cigarettes." And this fool pulled up, Joe, pulled up 10 minutes later in the driveway in a T-top Camaro SS. Didn't even get out of the car. Threw me a pack of cigarettes through the convertible roof of the T-top. And I was like, damn, you're telling me you get motion like that when you join up into the Marines? You're telling me you got it like that? Huh? And then he got married when he was a boot, and his wife wrecked his T-top Camaro. And my wife didn't wreck my Camaro. I never got one.
Well, yeah. Dodged a bullet.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Joe, I don't know if you know this, but I almost joined the army. I took the ASVAB. I was going to join the army. So I took the ASVAB for the army. And I don't know if you had him, but it was Staff Sergeant Rick called me up and he was like, "Hey, I think you're about to join the army. The army's gay. You don't want to be gay, do you?" And I was like, "No."
No,
And
Compelling. That's
No,
compelling, Staff
pussy.
Sergeant.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
you probably just had Sergeant Anderson then, right, as your recruiter?
That was him. What a man.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah, he took me back and forth to school for like 3 or 4 months straight.
Dude, Marine recruiters know their audience. You want to be gay? I
Yeah,
don't
for
think
real.
so, partner. I
He
don't think so,
knew
partner.
he knew kids me and a bunch of the guys that were working up at H&H Slaughterhouse after football practice and shit. We were all gonna join the army together. And then they all had felonies and then they couldn't join. And then I was still gonna go through with it, but then the recruiter got a hold of me. But everybody, the Marine Corps got it tight for sure.
All right, Maynard. Would you have gone back and joined the army if you were 100% certain you were going to deploy?
No, no, I think it was destiny to be in the Marine Corps.
Fair enough.
Like even if you deploy with the Army, it's still a little bit, I mean,
Still at least three-quarters gay, right?
yeah, I mean, I wanted to throw my name in the hat with the Marine Corps. It just didn't work out. No combat deployments, but at least I can lay my head down at night knowing I at least put my name in the hat with the Marine Corps.
All
It is
right.
what it is.
All right, moving on. So, why did you pick your job, or did you get to pick your job, Joe?
I didn't know. I actually signed up for the infantry, and I got the call from the recruiter, and he said, "Hey, Joe, we've got a spot for boot camp coming up." And I wanted to get the hell out, and he knew that. He's like, "However, he's like, we're going to put you into the artillery." I'm like, "That sounds great." He could have told me they were going to put me into, you know, calm or something, and I would have been fine with that. I didn't care. I just wanted to go. So
What,
I
dude? I
didn't
was
really
like
think too
catching
much of it.
strays. I was catching strays over here, bro.
I'm sorry.
Nah, dude, it's good. It's cool. I was supposed to be a linguist when I joined. The recruiter wanted me to go be a linguist because I passed their D lab. And then there's a long story. My recruiter was busy while I was at boot camp. Maynard, he was busy. Didn't do the top secret shit on his end. So I got reclassed to open and I took a ground, like a ground combat option or something. And then I got to pick the option and it was cool. It was like LAV, like engineer, MP, infantry assaultman. And then somewhere in the fine print, it was like radio repairman.
All right. In the pipeline, in the Arty pipeline, when do you find out what part of Arty you're going to be?
I knew immediately. Of course, I didn't know what that was, but
Yeah.
so when I signed up, they said you're going to be an 0844 fire direction controlman, and I didn't know what that meant. This was like the early stages of Ask.com and Google, and I'm thinking, am I putting out fires on some tarmac or something? So technically, they had it. I had no real bearing on what that was or why it was. So I didn't
And
know
you
what
didn't
my
care
job.
what you're going to do anyways, right?
No, I
Yeah.
just want to get out there and do it.
When I was on recruiter's assistance, right on boot leave, we went home back. Somebody didn't show up for they're supposed to ship out to MEPS that day to, go stand on the yellow footprints. They didn't show up, and the
Mm.
recruiter was like, "I got a guy who wants to leave." So we got in the van and we drove to that guy's house, knocked on that kid's door, and said, "If you want to go, you have to go today, right now." His mom wasn't home. Nobody, he was home by himself. Hopped in the van, grabbed his driver's license, and hopped in the van with us, and was gone. Dude,
It's
that's how
like
bad he
the
wanted out.
that's like the opposite of an episode of MTV Cribs, I feel like.
So, what would you have done within Hardy?
Um, if I could have just wave a magic wand and go back, I would probably do the 0811 Cannon Cocker. I've always been kind of a bigger guy, and I just seeing them do their jobs. There was like a lot of, I don't know, it looked like a lot of fun. So I'd want to do the 0811 if I could theoretically.
What does it look like when they do their jobs? What does that look like?
Well, it kind of snap into action. It's like, fire for effect over, and then you see these guys just swabbing shit, and just throwing stuff in. It's just motivating looking. And I'm sure after about the 40th round of HE, yeah, it wouldn't be as fun, but you're out there, and I don't know. It's kind of like when you work hard during the day, your time goes by faster. It's like, but when you're just sitting there thinking, it sort of slows down on you.
I thought you were gonna say something about sweat and vascularity. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, there's plenty of that
oh
too.
yeah. Oh.
Just like-
But you
Where
did get to fire the guns, correct?
I mean, we got to go down to the firing line, and that was another odd aspect of it. So our leadership would be like, these kids deserve something," so we would go down and fire them, and would do that, or
Did
they'd be
they
like, "All
beat
right,
your ass the first time? I've heard them
hell yeah,
say
they do," and you got to take a shot of that. What
swab juice, right?
whatever it was, yeah, and tasted like cancer. Probably is cancer, and just hasn't manifested yet. But no, it's a good time.
Yeah, I know that's
no,
like big tradition in the Marine Corps for arty. Like first time you fire the gun, I think everybody jumps you, beats the fuck out
Yep.
of you. Do you have to bite the thing? Like what is it? Where the not
I
like a blasting cap, but
primer?
but yeah, I
Yeah.
thought you do you have to bite it and then like take a shot of the swab juice?
Theoretically, yes, but that wasn't my experience. I just went right to the swab juice, and it was putrid, very putrid. Good
Would
time.
you take a little sniffer of swab juice today? Would you go ahead and do that now?
I probably would just for old time's sake, just to really solidify the cancer. Yeah.
They had a tradition in engineers where boots had to eat some C4. Still a mouthful. He'll clean you out. It's mostly like it's got motor oil in it, it's not a big deal. But then I think first combat engineers had either like a lap mover or just like a salty boot show up, and they're like, "You got to eat some fucking C4, ding dong." And he's like, "Oh, all right." And they're like, "Just one bite, it's fine." He was like, "I'll eat the whole fucking thing," and then he had a seizure and he had permanent brain damage from eating like a block of C4 is a pound and a quarter,
Jeez.
and he ate like a pound of it. And anyways, so I think some dudes went to the brig off of that, but now the boots don't eat. They don't eat the C4 anymore.
Damn.
Take me to the brig. Show me the real Marines. Take me to get your freaking. You gotta get some. We gotta get some MOS related snacks back under Pete Hegseth. He said boot camp was gonna be scary again. Let's feed some air wingers some JP5 or whatever they put in the planes. Let's give the Chow Hall Marines. Honestly, that's honestly gross enough. Let's just make them eat at the Chow Hall.
They
The
have to
cannon
eat the
cockers.
MRE eggs in the
Oh
morning
God,
time.
dude,
Those things are
for
fucking nasty. Like you got to eat the whole thing.
real.
Nasty ass eggs. Motherfuckers from Iowa would be liking that shit though. Like there's always some cornfed or corn-fed guy. He'd be like, "You gonna eat those eggs, dude?" Like, fuck no, I'm not. Have my fucking eggs, dude. It's nasty. You even want that shit.
I thought about the eggs for too long. It made me gag.
Oh, God, Matt, you
They're
like the
so
MRE
bad.
eggs?
I don't remember them. I know I ate them. I don't remember them.
Oh,
Gunther
man.
cooked them for us. He was our egg guy.
Nasty as fuck.
Yeah,
All right.
probably. I mean, I'm sure I dumped enough Texas Pete in there for it not to matter,
Yeah.
or as
Oh
much
yeah.
as you can stand. But yeah, whatever. Oh, so all right. So this would be the last question for till Maynard takes it over. But where do HIMARS fit into Marine Corps Arty?
HIMARS is interesting. So I think 11th Marines over in, see, I don't know much about it. Now, for my job, the 0844s, there were a few guys out of MOS school that got like put in a HIMARS unit. so it's kind of their own thing. Um, but what they did and how they did it, I wouldn't be knowledgeable enough, really. I just remember one time I did get to see Highmark shoot, and it does look like a telephone pole just like taking off. It's some of the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, it's just lopped in there with artillery, as far as I know.
Would it be would there be let's see, like a company within the regiment is just HIMARS, or is it just a battery?
It
How would that?
is. Yeah.
Okay.
So HIMARS has its own battery, or at least it did when I was in 10
Right,
years ago.
yeah.
So unless they've changed anything, it has its own particular battery and its own command structure and all that.
Got it.
Is a
All right. And
battery
then
the equivalent of a company?
Yes. Yes. A
Okay, all right.
battery is a company. So your
And then
section leaders and all
as a
that.
gun line, like is 4 guns a platoon of 777s?
Yes, essentially. And if I remember correctly, it is. So there'd be four, I think up to six. Allegedly, could be up to six. And when I was in, we had first, second, and third battalion, and then they had all their gun lines there. So one battalion could be up to six, if I remember correctly.
Or one company up to, or one, because it
one
Battery.
battery.
Yeah.
battery. Okay, so
So
you have
battery
the
is a company.
regiment, right? You've got the regiment, 10th Marine Regiment. What was the one on Oki? 12th
They're
Marines?
12th Marines, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Oh man, those guys are wild, but dude, they were dangerous.
And where they,
Yeah, don't hang around their barracks on Hanson for sure. They'll
yeah,
get you in trouble.
do you get to party with Artie? Any?
Yeah, and we went on a big field op for like 2 weeks with them, and man, they were retarded. There was,
Nice.
but they could have a good time for sure out on Kintown. But so you have the regiment, and then in each regiment, are there 4 batteries, or how does it, or what?
No, there's battalions under the regiment level.
Okay, okay,
So then you have the battalion level. And when I was in, there was three different battalions, but now they disbanded third battalion. So 10th Marines has first and second battalion, and that's it. And then they have the individual Alpha battery, Bravo battery, so on and so forth.
got it. I think too, but I think you're like a dying breed of folks. I think the Marine Corps' what is it, 2035 plan? Is that the name of it, Brendan?
2030.
It's Force Plan 2030.
Yeah, okay, I think they're gonna get rid of all like tube artillery, or they're gonna try to. So I think the 777s are gonna go away, and the Marine Corps is gonna like totally switch to HIMARS in the future.
And there was kind of some suspicion of that when I was in. It's like, all right, technology is really, and they're really taking over here. And the GPS guided stuff, it's amazing. The capabilities of that is truly amazing. And there's going to be some sort of variance with the standard 777. I mean, it's not much, but there is no variance if you can literally guide the missile in, kind of
Yeah.
like what we're seeing in Ukraine with the drones. They can do that with these very large ballistic missiles. And so I can see that. It's heartbreaking, but I can also see it.
Things changed. They disbanded my first battalion that I was with in the Marine Corps. So CAB, Combat Assault Battalion, and Oki got disbanded in like 2016. Marine Corps is just changing all sorts of things. Like the AVs are going away, replaced with the ACVs, I think they are. So all it's just changing. The Marine Corps changing, trying to get ready for presumably China. And island hopping in the Pacific seems to be where the Marine Corps put most of their attention.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, in certain battles of World War One, World War Two, they would fire like 12 million arty rounds in 6 hours. Can you actually do that with HIMARS? I don't know.
And I don't either. I don't
I
either.
don't.
And I think a good point with the Russia Ukraine stuff right now is Russia's always had a very strong artillery, and now I don't know if it's phasing itself out, but Russia's superior artillery and indirect fire hasn't really helped them that much. I mean, they're struggling with Ukraine, so that may be indicative of where the Marine Corps goes as well. I don't know.
It's like back to that World War I analogy. Like they fired all those artillery rounds, but like one HIMAR round, like well placed and precise is insane. Like you mix those with some AWACSs, and then next thing you know, like a whole platoon is dead from one missile that arrives
What does the AWACS have to do with it?
I think the AWACS may or may not know where a bunch of people congregate.
Yeah, you have that, but I mean, if you go subterranean, then I don't know how much a rocket's going to get through that. I think what you're saying is valid for sure. I think part of the firing 12 million rounds is the psychological damage and sustained just breaking you down for weeks of laying under arty fire, and you can't, move this around, move that around, and yeah, it's the king of battle for more than the death toll.
Yeah, 155 rounds are fucking scary. There's
Yes,
no doubt about it. What's the kill radius on it? Is it like 60 meters or something like
well,
that?
that's been a long time. Yeah, something within the grid square, I think, is could kill you, but then there's a certain smaller radius that will just evaporate you. So yeah,
Yeah, they're no joke. For sure. When you hear 777 shoot too, you like know they're no joke. Like it's cool
yeah,
to like talk about, but when you see it, you're like, damn, it's
yes.
impressive. All right, well, let's move on here. I got some other questions to ask you. So take us through your journey in the Marine Corps, or I'll help you here. So you're from east of the Mississippi. You go to Parris Island, South Carolina for boot camp, correct?
Yes.
What battalion?
I was Delta Company, First Battalion.
Okay.
We stayed at
It,
the rifle range the entire time, which I always thought was kind of weird, but we did.
yep. And then after that, you go to MCT.
Yep.
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 On Camp Geiger, I think. Mobile
Yep.
Lejeune. Yeah. And then after that, you go to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, correct, for MOS school?
That is correct. Yep. That was roughly 7 weeks or so.
How was your time in Oklahoma?
It was not fun. Oklahoma and MOS school in general was not great. There's a lot of fire watch, a lot of just no liberty, just being there with the Army. So we had split with the Army. I was also there at a time when they were moving from these old squad bays to these new barracks. So there's all sorts of working parties to get all that shit moved over, which was not fun. Um, the weather, not great. Very windy. I was there like I think February, March, and a little bit of April. Man, it's cold there, and that wind is no joke.
I was fucking not. Yesterday was brutal. We like dropped down to 14 degrees and it was windy as shit. And
Ooh.
yeah. Now the weather can be tough. I could imagine, like I was thinking about that last night, like preparing for this episode. Like it would suck if you were out there, like having to train in that shit. That wind will cut you to pieces.
Yeah, PT, and they would. We didn't really rate the that jacket and the pants, the track suit that everybody gets issued, but I never really seen worn. Didn't get to wear that. We just had to wear skivvies and go for it. And I'm like, man, this sucks. Maybe a sweater.
And you would do your libo out in Lawton if you got any?
Correct. Yeah, and there's a bowling alley on base. And I wasn't old enough to drink either, so I'm just like, man, this is horrible. This is,
Talk about the worst town for Libo.
oh yeah, yeah.
For real.
It was interesting. It was
They
very interesting.
consider it to be like one of the worst duty stations in America. Like if you're permanent personnel there, like it's just Lawton. But I would always argue Camp Lejeune because of Jacksonville. So you really had like the worst of everything as far as like where you're going because Lawton to Jacksonville is not that great of an improvement.
It wasn't an upgrade. And I remember they gave us three options where you wanted to go. Mine was like Hawaii, Okinawa, and then Pendleton. And of course, I got sent to Camp Lejeune. So,
Classic Marine Corps.
yeah, oh yeah.
So where'd you put that you wanted to go?
Hawaii. I wanted to go to K Bay for sure. That was an option. I'm like, let's go there. And then Okinawa was my next option. I'm like, that would have been awesome. I did
Yeah.
not put any kind of preference for Camp Lejeune, and I don't think anyone else did either. So
All right. And so this is a funny part. And like I got to Okinawa because I accidentally signed my name on the overseas like option list because I had to go piss and I come back and my buddy was like, "Here, sign this, dude." And I'm like, "All right." And I'm like not paying attention or whatever. So I go to Okinawa that way, but I think it's funny. But you find out that you're gonna go to Camp Lejeune, where you like, "Fuck me," or like, what were your thoughts?
I was honestly ready to leave Lawton, man. I'm like, let's go. Let's get out of here.
I stop at the gas station in Lawton and I'm like, you know what? 20 is fine, dude. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
The 20 will get me to the next city. It's fine.
It is rough, man. Yeah, I'm down there a few times a year. Did you ever see the elk on the base though?
No, I never saw an elk. Yeah, I didn't see much of it, man. It was a very just barren, cold time, if I remember correctly, and a lot of PT and going to the gym.
All right, so let's talk about it. So you get your orders and you're going to go to, does it say that you're going to go to what is it, headquarters battery, or does it just say you're going to 10th Marines?
It said I was going to 210, but 210 at the time was in Afghanistan. And so they're like, hey, we're going to keep you in headquarters battery. So when I get there, they're like, oh, yeah, we're sending you to HQ. Your battalion is deployed. I'm like, oh, okay. That's fine. I didn't know what any of that meant anyway. So I'm just like, that's cool. And then I checked into headquarters and stayed there.
We talk about this on some of our other episodes that we've already recorded, but like, were you excited to get to the fleet and then you get to the fleet and it's a total disaster of shit show, or like how did it go for you?
Yeah, I was excited to get to the fleet. I was there with one other guy, and we kind of split ways. And then I show up, it's late after we'd been in that holding battalion or holding barracks or whatever it was. So they sent me out to the to the fleet, and the guy on duty is pissed. Like naturally enough, he's on duty, and he gives me very cursory directions to my room and tells me to get the hell out of his face. And I'm like, wow, this is going to be all right. And then I essentially stayed in my barracks room, just scared to death all weekend. Didn't know anybody, didn't have a car, couldn't move really. And I would peek my head out long enough to like go to the chow hall and then come back and just try not to be noticed. I don't. I don't know. There was no real love there or welcome to the fleet type deal, which I kind of expected. I'd heard the stories, so
Yeah,
it was a pretty standard welcome to the fleet experience.
right on. You talked about the chow halls. How were the chow halls on Lejeune? Or like where were you specifically on Lejeune? Like what area was it called?
It was In Street was the name of it, and I was in barracks HP 550. So In Street, they have their own thing. They call themselves like the In Street Hooligans and stuff like that. But it's kind of adjacent to tanks, and we always were pissed off at tanks, I guess, for that reason, like two dogs being too close together or something. So in street, I'm trying to really think of how to explain that. Ooh, do you know anything about Lejeune or any of you guys?
Yeah, I was at Courthouse Bay for e-school. But that's kind of
Okay,
like out of sight, out of mind as far as Lejeune goes.
yeah,
Brennan went a few times, right? You went for
Went for e-school and
English.
then for NCO course, but I didn't stay on. If I left base, I didn't. I was out in town. I didn't stick around on the like main side. It was all Courthouse Bay, and then I slept in the freaking. I slept in the A&S barracks a bunch of times, like ITC. My buddy was in A&S and ITC, so we'd go like to the club and bars and shit, and then come back and crash on um whatever part the A&S ITC is on. I can't think of the name of that part of
yeah.
Lejeune. Uh, but then like when I went back and he was in ITC, he had a house out in Holly Ridge. And so we just stayed at his house in Holly Ridge.
Was In
Nice.
Street just like fucking rowdy and violent? Is that what you're getting to?
It was pretty rowdy. Yeah, it was a good time though. We had a basketball court, and a lot of guys go out there. Had a pretty notable smoke pit. Had a lot of good times out in the smoke pit with the boys. Miss those days for sure.
Yeah.
Which I've actually heard is now vaping and Zen, and I don't know. It's like another death of a tradition. That hurts.
Yeah, it does. And you couldn't, now you think you have to be 21 for tobacco products. So I couldn't imagine. Imagine you're like in the Marine Corps and you can't like get a pinch of grizz. That would be terrible. I don't know how many kids are even dipping grizz anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely death of tradition, like the smoke pit. Like, where are you gonna fight everybody? You know,
Right.
um, or all the crazy shit. You're talking about your rivalry with tanks. The barracks across from us, so it was like our barracks, smoke pit, and then it was Third Recon, and then every basically day there was some type of drama, like recon killing one of our guys, or like think they kill him and throw him down a storm drain. He like washes out into the ocean, but he's like alive still.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I'm sure you know, like, did they ever like come to your barracks and like pull the fire alarm and shit? And you're like, goddamn tanks.
So I actually moved out of the barracks because I ended up getting married there, traditional as a PFC, of course, and so that got me out. And then, so I stayed out. But anytime I didn't have my kid, and subsequently got divorced, naturally enough. So I was kind of out in town on my own. And guys would like come over to my house, but if I didn't have my kid, I'd go back to the bricks and go drink with them. But I don't remember any fire alarms being pulled. People jump off, which is funny, on the mattresses and stuff. But
Oh, yep. Uh, how was the chow hall there on N Street?
not bad, not bad.
Okay.
I had to, well, was supposed to pay for it. Man, I hope this doesn't incriminate me, but I did. I was going to the 7 day one day, and I looked on the ground, and there sat a meal card, and that thing was like Willy Wonka and his golden ticket. I'm like, let's go. And the name was close enough. I think it was Jay Sean Wilson or something, where I can like flash it, and then get on into the chow hall. Um, so it was free food at a time when I really needed free food, and it wasn't bad at all.
A gift from the Lord.
What
Um,
what were the chow hall workers like?
They were, I don't know how to say it, intellectually disabled, but not to like a reimbursable level. They're right there on the cusp of being truly intellectually disabled. But they were very nice. There's one particularly large one that called me a handsome man one day, and that stuck with me.
Yeah.
You don't get
Thanks,
many of those
brother.
compliments as a man. So
Yeah. No, they were pretty much all ex-cons on
yeah,
Pennington.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
yeah. It cracks me up.
I think the appropriate nomenclature is chowtard. You got the chowtards down there. I
Yeah.
think that's their preferred nomenclature. That please call me a chowtard. Thank you. Do you want more egg? Like, dude, stop trying to give me the eggs, bro. I don't want any more eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like on at Schwab, that was ran like we didn't have civilians, we had Marines, so it was like even worse. Like I'd rather have the civilian chow hall. And then on Pendleton, where 70th was, that one was also done by Marines, but then we would go to the Air Wing Chow Hall, and that was civilian. So I don't know how the Marine Corps decides that. They're like, some of them are going to be Marine ran, and then some of them are going to be civilian
Sodexo.
ran.
Yep.
Yeah, Sodexo for sure.
Yeah.
Try to get over there to one of those chow halls.
Try to get over to the Submarina on the 52 area, MCT on Pendleton. That was good. Or yeah, just the Air Wing Chow Hall in general was way better.
Oh
Oh
yeah, you
yeah.
had to get over there for sure. Overall, how was the quality of life on Camp Lejeune?
Um, I would say not bad, honestly. Living out in town now, that was one thing because you have two gates. You got a Piney Green gate, you got the main gate. So every Marine from every unit going to PT at the same time, you spend some time waiting in traffic. So that was kind of lame. Um, but other than that, I mean, there was a lot of Marines everywhere you went. Of course, you kind of had to watch your back at all times for some angry sergeant major or first sergeant looking for uniform infractions or shaves or stuff like that. But I assume that's just across the Marine Corps and
Yeah.
having board higher echelon guys looking out for it. But no, it wasn't too bad. Had some good buddies, and we all kind of made the best with what we had. Jacksonville was kind of a shithole, but
Oh,
can't believe
yeah,
you sell stuff.
kind of, man. It was.
Yeah.
I felt bad. Like your family comes and visits, and you're like embarrassed that they had to stay there. You're like, oh man. Driftwood was over by the main gate.
Yeah, yeah. Driftwood was right there, and they had a
Important.
breakfast buffet, which was I always thought was funny. You can go in there and get to the strip club and eat you some breakfast. So, I don't know, man. It's just a
And
fun combo to me.
it's just Marines and Sergeant Major's daughters, for sure.
Yeah, Marines' wives.
Yo, for sure, man.
This is my
For
wife,
sure.
Diamond.
Yeah.
She's a model and a dancer.
She worked at Driftwood. I'll never forget it. When we were at engineer school, I was hanging out with some older guys, and they're like, "You ever been to a strip club before?" And I was like, "No, I've never been." And so they were like, "We're gonna go to Driftwood this weekend." And then they took me there, and then they're like explaining how it all works, really mentoring me up and preparing me for the experience. And I didn't know, they didn't tell me about the singles part, but I had some $5 bills. And so like I
Mm.
go up to the stage and like everybody else is just like doing a couple dollars. And I had like a $5 bill. And this stripper's like, get up here. And I'm like, shit, like she was very authoritative. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not even gonna question this. And then she gets me up there and then she bends me over on stage and like puts her legs around my head, takes my belt off, and whoops my fucking ass with that belt in front of God and everybody. And I was like, I'm never coming back to this place. I couldn't have been more embarrassed. That was my first and last experience at Driftwood. Um,
Paint your back porch red.
she did. I paid her for it too, which is the worst
Daggone.
damn part. But
They
yeah.
did like that in Okie. They did like that. I went to my first time out there. They had it's called Chi-Chi's, just outside the Foster main gate. My NCO's like, "Hey Boot, this is like a fucking Tuesday night too. Like, hey Boot, what are you doing? Well, we're celebrating the new corporal promotions. Get in the honcho." And it's like midnight at Chi-Chi's, and one of the corporals goes back. He's like, "I'm not getting in trouble, guys." The other brand new corporal we had out with us was homies with the duty. So she called the duty and was like, "Hey, fudge the libo cards, like make it look like we're back." And they paid one of them girls to take me on the stage. Thinking I'm thinking that, hey, I've never been to anything like this. I'm from, like Joe, like you said, I graduated with 17 people from high school. So I'm thinking like, hey, I'm about to get up there and have a good time. Not the case. The one like sat on like knees on my shoulders. My face was obscured by various accoutrements of the stripping industry. And then another one of them girls sat on my thighs and they lifted my shirt up and gave me a pink belly. And it was like, it lasted longer. It was one past fun. Like they gave me a pink belly that was one past fun. And so I start bucking them, like trying to get them off. And then they got real mad. I had a 0 out of 10 time, honestly. And then like everybody I was with got NJP'd except for me because I went back on base different time than them. They all called the platoon sergeant like 3 a.m. and we're like, "We're stuck off base, sergeant." And they're like, "Hey, Boot, if he knows that we were drinking with the underage Boot, we're all gonna get in trouble. So like, you're on your own." I just waited until 6 o'clock and rode back through the gate because at 6 a.m. it was like you're saying at the Piney Green Gate. There's so much traffic coming on base that they don't check libo cards. So it's 6 a.m. I roll through on a honcho, and the gate guard, the Japanese gate guard's like, "Arigato." And I was like, "Konnichiwa, dude." I go back in the barracks, like I toss the duties like scrambling, counting libo cards as I come in at 6:07. Like toss my libo card to him, like, "See you later." And then PT got canceled because a bunch of the corporals were in trouble for something and they wouldn't tell us what. And then I ended up having phone watch over lunch, so I didn't get a nap in. But it all kind of worked out, except the pink belly part. It's way way too hard. Don't slap me that hard, ladies.
That's the true Marine Corps experience. I don't know why, if you're a PFC, that was like, we have to go. And I'm like, no, man, she fucking whooped my ass last time. I'm not going. But I don't, that's how they all wanted to do it in engineer school. Got to go to the strip club. Friggin' Marines are just something else, though. Did you ever deer hunt on Lejeune?
No, I know a lot of guys did, but I never did. I never
No.
did. which is odd because I was interested in deer hunting, still deer hunt, like to go, but never did that. A lot of guys duck hunted. Never really did that either. Did a little bit of fishing, which was fun, running around Topsail Island and all that. But
Nice.
that was about the extent of my outdoor activities.
That's fair. I mean, you had a kid, so I'm sure you're busy.
Yeah,
Me and Brennan used to hunt on Pendleton some.
To
nice.
shoot the
Just
dove
whatever.
birds, dude.
Yep.
We
Dove.
did some ground squirrels. Did we ever kill any coyotes or did we just hunt them?
No, dude, we called them for like probably like 10 hunts because Bill had
Oh
that Fox
man.
Pro and then we never killed any coyotes. We
I
tried.
blew I blew Bill's shotgun choke up that one time.
Dang. But we hunted around a little bit. I used to see some deer when we were out on Courthouse Bay going to like from the barracks. You'd have to walk like a mile, I think it was, to get where you do to the demo range. And then I'd see some deer out there in those woods and
Yeah.
I just figured good hunting. What about suicides? Was that a pretty big thing in Artie in at that time?
That was not particularly in our unit, but we kind of heard about it. And I think in one of the battalions, they had the people there with the gloves on and all that. I remember one morning. So it was kind of like a moment of realization like, wow, this actually occurs. You hear about it a lot, and it's literally right there. So um,
Yep.
I would say it'd be about the same as any other unit, but it is horrifying and sad,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. I thought that it was like more prevalent in the RDMOS for some reason. I couldn't remember if it was you or somebody told me like they would get a 96 for every month their like battalion went without like a suicide or something. Did y'all get
No,
anything like that?
no,
In the
that
Marine
wasn't
Corps,
me.
in the Marine Corps, if they gave you a 96 to like, mourn every suicide, dude, I feel like that would drive numbers the wrong direction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm.
What about DUIs? Did the RD guys get in a bunch of trouble with DUIs?
Yeah, there were several DUIs. There was one guy, staff sergeant, real cool guy, and I think was actually like I don't know, one of those Fallujah. He was a vet of some sort of like some major battle, and I remember he got DUI and they busted him down and basically made him leave the Marine Corps, and I'm like that. It feels like that was a major injustice of that man.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd hear about it regularly. We had a kid get ADSEP for DUIs. He got two of them. He's a Cajun guy from down in
Dude,
Louisiana.
each one should only count for like a quarter of a deal. If he's Cajun,
Yeah, yeah,
he's driving better hammered. I'm not talking about like 3 beers. I'm talking about he's driving better. Granted, he's driving like 70 and a 25, but he's
yeah.
doing good. Yeah, he's doing good. Drunk as hell. They should leave him alone.
You called that 100%. Yeah. He was actually on restriction and somehow got another DUI on restriction. Yeah, that was so. Yeah, you say DUIs, definitely prevalent. Definitely prevalent.
That's some hotly devil dog type shit. Like he was on restriction and he got another DUI. That's the most devil dog shit I could
Yeah.
think of.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend. I don't want to mention his name, but
No,
man,
yeah, you
what
don't
a
have to.
guy! What a guy!
I'm sure just a damn good Marine too.
Not bad.
Yep,
And I mean, a 300 PFT. I've never met a better runner, but he ran his ass all the way back to Louisiana because he couldn't stop drinking.
yep. Oh man, the Cajun Marines are a friggin' rowdy bunch. My
Yes, they
God,
are.
they'll get you in trouble.
Yes, they
And some
will.
Louisiana boys at Cab, and I don't know, they're just like a different, dirtier kind of drunk. Every time I was hanging around them, I felt just dirty, like we're gonna really do something bad. I don't know.
You
Yeah,
I
feel
was
like
up to
you
no
you feel
good.
like you already committed like you go down and see him in the smoke pit and you're like, I feel like I already committed a crime today. Like I feel like I already broke the law. We
for
haven't
sure.
even gone out yet.
For sure.
Yeah. You have no fucking idea what most of them are saying either. They need like subtitles when they're talking to you.
We
They
had that
do.
one at seventh that used to have his playing cards and he would throw them and they were weapons and that's what he did. No, actually, I'm thinking of an X-Man. My bad, dude. I got my Marines and X-Men mixed up.
Break, break, break. Time for a 5-minute gear check, boys. This would be a good time for you to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and we would really appreciate it. Don't forget that we want to interview veterans, so reach out to us if you want to have your service documented. Let other veterans know too. You guys can use the comment section, our socials, or the podcast email. Find us and follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and Substack. And go buy yourself a copy of War Business, The Hired Guns of Helmand Province. You can buy that on Amazon or through the Wargate store. If reading isn't your forte, then we've got you covered with the audiobook. Thank you for listening to this episode of the War Business Podcast, and we appreciate all of your support. Let's get you back to the episode.
So I got a question for you just about your life at Lejeune, and then we're going to get into like some training stuff and then just a little bit of post-service, and then we'll wrap it up. All right. So Joe, you're a parent while you're in the Marine Corps. How was that? Did like the Marine Corps work with you at all? Like if your kid was sick, or were you just kind of SOL if you needed it to do anything?
They would, but I kept close tabs on that because, I would have to go pick my daughter up and stuff like that. But I also didn't want to become the guy who is, always leaving and using that, because there were other married Marines there, and they're like, oh yeah, oh so and so not gonna he's gonna get to skate out of this for this, So they would work with me, but for the guys, I wanted to stick around as much as humanly possible, so it didn't appear like I was not, carrying my weight. So I generally made amends, and props to my ex-wife. We didn't get along that well, but she stayed in Jacksonville, despite being divorced, and waited till I got out to go back to Tennessee. So gotta give credit where it's due. It's about the only credit I'm gonna give, but gotta give credit at least for that.
That's fair. No, I just couldn't imagine. Like, we got a kid now, didn't in the Marine Corps. Just a lot going on at home, like it would be tough to balance that work-life balance, with the Marine Corps. Like you got duty, so you got like barracks duty, and then I don't know. I just think it would be tough. Matt, did you have kids while you were in?
No, thank God for my kids. I was so, I don't know, gung ho, motarded. I probably would have just locked them in a wall locker with a cat ball, like for a field op or something. Like they'll be fine. It's secured. Uh, yeah, no, but I couldn't imagine having one in the Marine Corps. That's got to be super difficult.
I think you can leave them in the barracks lounge. Like they'll give the classes to like the kids. Like
Oh,
if there's a friggin', like a wire obstacle class going in the lounge, so you can have a kid in there and teach them how to construct a knife rest, triple standard concertina wire. From our time at 1-1, Matt, they would be like, I don't know, teaching plunging machine gun fire or whatever. If your kid learns that at the barracks while you're on duty, that's probably better than a semester of kindergarten, honestly.
Yeah. I would probably have s- put them, pressed them into service and made
Yeah.
them like guard people's laundry machines in the barracks.
I've always heard that children are great for running crew served weapons because their tiny hands can get in and clear jams, put a new belt in the feed tray, things like that. But it takes, for like a 50 cal, an M2, it takes like 3 children to rack it twice and get it ready to fire. And headspace and timing for children is like their bread and butter, because you got to take the spade handle off, you got to get in the receiver of the 50 cal. And children's tiny fingers work really well for that. Like maybe a 10-year-old, somewhere in there.
All right, back on track. Did you ever take her or did you ever take your kid to the office and you're like, here's what dad does, and she's like, Jesus Christ, that is a big ass cannon, or how'd that go?
yeah, I'll take her to base. It'd be a lot of fun. Of course, they had stuff on base, like for families, and I took advantage of that. I thought it was good. They had the Gunny Claus stuff for the Christmas party, and Addison, she really enjoyed that growing up, and hopefully she grows up and they're kind and good memories for her.
Yeah,
But I would try to involve her as much as I could.
that's fine, man. No, yeah, with Amy, we got her, and it's like our buddy, he's up in Manhattan, Kansas right now with whatever arty unit is up there. He does paladins for the army, and he's like, y'all got to come up here, and I'm like hyped. I'm ready to take Amy when she gets a little bit bigger, and he's like, I think we'll be able to get her in a paladin, and so I'm like, all right, I just can't wait for it. That's what I would do, like if I was up here in the Marine Corps, like had access to that, be like, I got to show you everything, like. Here's a Abrams tank. Don't stand behind them. You'll get really warm.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. But I didn't know if it would be like rough or not. I can just imagine it being a little bit harder because like you go home and there's not like a rest period or like when you got like a little one, you're already not getting a lot of sleep. And then plus in the Marine Corps, they're just working the piss out of you. So I imagine you're just tired a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah, tired a lot. And scheduling your own field ops, that was really tough because you would be like, well, I've got this 30-day time period that I've got to block off and figure out. So when you're not with your significant other, that is tough, and I'm sure a lot of people dealt with it. And but yeah, not easy.
Let's talk about like that training tempo filled up because I'm not sure what it's like for Artie. Only
Mhm.
interactions really with them were like at 29 Palms and then one filled up in Okinawa with Artie, but they didn't have their guns with them or anything. So what's like the training tempo look like? Are you training all the friggin' time or how's that look?
Quite a bit, yeah, quite a bit. We'd go to the field quite a bit. And most of it was artillery related. Sometimes we'd have to do like the night fire range and all that. And that was more of just the higher ups just wanting us to do something we expend that energy on. Fort Bragg was once a year. That was always in October. That was about a month long. We'd go to Fort Bragg and shoot for, well, pretty much the entire time. And really the whole regiment would go, and there'd be Dermo, and there'd be, the armory guys doing their thing, and coordinating and moving, and all the Marine Corps stuff. And then ITX would come around also about once a year, but both battalions or all three battalions wouldn't always go. Headquarters never went to ITX, but we always went to Fort Bragg and all that. Now, when we went, a lot of it was erecting the COC and stuff like that for these higher up guys, making them coffee. And then they would like send us out just to really just bullshit, and set up the C wire and the COC. And then there wasn't a whole lot to do. So we'd kind of just chill.
I think Brenda got good at making coffee. I think you
Yeah.
still use those skills you learned in the Marine Corps about making coffee the right way. And what Brendan does is he leaves the lid open so the water gets hot, and then he closes the lid of the coffee maker. And it does make a slightly better cup of coffee.
No, I was in Australia, dude. I had a French press I took to the field. I had a fucking, we had a, because we were in the outback so much, dude. Like, we went to Marine Rotational 4-star one, which is the stupidest. I would tell any commandant, any full bird, any flag officer, any sergeant major, like, that is the stupidest fucking thing the Marine Corps can waste time on. And it's not because of the philosophical part of it. Like, I understand force projection, whatever. It's because of what the dudes actually do. And so we were just in the outback for like weeks on end. You got some days you got like 12 hours of shit to do. And some days like I guess we're gonna practice our sunburns today or whatever. Um, but we had an Australian generator and I bought like electric kettle and then I brought my freaking I bought it was when Black Rifle coffee was new. It's like 2015. So I bought a shitload of Black Rifle coffee and a French press. And it's like for me and the gang, right? We're just having this is our secret like squad leader coffee. And then word got out. And then finally one of the motor T-tards borrowed my French press and dropped a rifle on it and broke it. I'm like, how the fuck do you do? There like how, bro? What? How? Just how? It was one of those things where it's like your quality of life is so bad that you have one nice thing and some fucking retard from Motor T drops an M16 on it and you're like, I'll fucking kill you, dude. What? And then, the company commander doesn't understand. He's like, what? No more coffee? Like, yes, sir. Sorry, sir. No more coffee. You're gonna have to figure, you have to figure something out. When we got back from the field, I bought a new one that was metal, but it was Traumatizing, dude.
Motor T. Were your 7 tons always late, Joe?
Always, yeah, always. And
Classic.
I was a Humvee driver, though. I don't know if you drove the Humvees, but I got a license for that. So it,
No.
it was a burden, but it was also kind of a blessing. You got to sleep in the Humvee. You didn't have to set a tent up. You can just go to the back of your Humvee, put a cot out. I like that. I like that.
Nah,
Nice.
dude, me and Maynard's unit, 7th engineers, they would have been like, hey, fucking Humvee drivers, you're not better than anybody. You're sleeping in a fucking tent, gotta go.
Oh, oh,
I guarantee they would have been like that, dude.
yeah.
We pulled a prank one time on one of our like freshest Marines, female Marine, and we told her like, "Hey, go get the keys out of the Humvee. Don't come back till you have the keys." And she came back with a set of keys.
Oh no.
And
No.
our one of our Marines had lost his keys. I don't know how long he lost it. It was Blakemore. Yeah, do you remember this? He had lost his
No.
keys like a year ago or like a year before that happened. And like she sure as shit found those keys. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, where did you get these? She's like, out of the 7 ton sword. I'm like, what? So that was a plot twist. The classic Marine Corps prank on the new guys. Go find the keys to the Humvee.
I got that one pulled on me.
Yep.
PFC, hey, go get the Humvee keys. Okay, sure.
That's like one of those things. The Humvee driver part, I always avoided it because I didn't want to have to like show up at the motor pool like super early or whatever. Because they always need a Humvee driver for something.
No.
Um, so I was trying to try to get out of that one. But you don't know you're gonna become those things whenever you're joining the Marine Corps. It's like all these little things that you get assigned, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'm a Humvee driver now.
I just assumed that that was its own job. Like when I was joining, I just was like, Humvee drivers probably just do that for a living. But little did I know, like, I avoided it when I got to 1-1 because our motor pool was it was all of our vehicles were such pieces of shit
No.
at 1-1. They were all fucking trashed. And I'm like, I had already been to that non-deployable unit and we had like white civilian type vehicles, like white fleet. And it was a big enough pain in the ass to keep those on the PM schedule, like their PM's up to date. I get to 1-1, I check out the Humvees, and I'm like, oh, fuck no. No, I'm not going to sign responsibility for this abortion of a vehicle ever, dude. There was more than once where I had to scheme my way out of going to Humvee driver course because 0% chance of me doing that. That's wild, not happening.
You're a pretty big dude, Joe. I mean, like, are you just like in there, like as tight as
Yeah.
possible? Or
Yeah, I
It
was
looked like
one
a
inch shy of being too tall for the Humvee, and the same with pulling pits on the range. I was 1 inch shy. So,
ah,
yeah, if I'd have been one more inch, I could have avoided a lot of heartache in the military.
you probably look like a GI Joe driving a fucking Barbie convertible when you're in the Humvee. Like,
Oh, yeah. And your flak would like start pinching down
oh
on
my
like that
God.
roll in your stomach, and yeah, it was never a lot of fun. Um,
Yep.
My door fell
Humvees.
off on a convoy one time. We are going to Bragg, and then I asked them like, "Hey, are you gonna fix this door?" And they basically was like, "I'd just throw it in the back." And I'm like, "I don't think it's safe," but I mean, that was the Marine Corps. You find a way, door or not door, or no door.
Yep. Yeah. Was it up armor door or was it just like the soft?
No,
Yeah.
oh no, thank God, no. Now the up armored Humvees, and I can't even remember the nomenclature on them. Those were the worst because there's even less room with that turret for the 50 cal here and the
Yeah.
comm gear, and you couldn't even see your A driver. Those were the worst.
Yeah. Shit, dude. You think they would be spacious? There's just not a lot of room in there. I'd get in it and I'd be like, shit, there ain't a lot of room for me in here.
No,
No,
And I'm not
no,
that big of a fella, but
me and Day rode in a up armored. He was driving. I was his A driver in a up armored, like the pickup ones, the single cab ones.
The
And
highbacks?
yeah, dude. And I'm 6 feet tall, which is not insanely tall as Marines go, but like it's tall enough to be a problem in a fucking up armored high back. And
yep,
I had like, I don't know, I had like cramps, dude, in my hips and shit trying to sit in there. My knees were like up in my chest. And Day's not a short dude. Day's 6 feet tall. He's driving the thing, and dude, it was crazy. Who did they make them for? Did they make them for the Vietnamese?
I
The
know that
general.
one from Seventh caught on fire one time because that suicidal kid that you made me live with was the aid driver for it. And then I think it burnt all the way down to the ground. They tried to extinguish the fire, and then he breathed in some smoke and then laid in his rack for a week. He's like, I have smoke inhalation or whatever. Probably got 100% disability from the VA for it for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I remember his Humvee cooked down, melted
Hey,
down
just out of curiosity, are you salty that you had to live with that suicidal kid?
a little bit. Yeah.
You've never brought it up before.
And we
Yep.
had a guy run over by a Humvee and died on a field op.
Oh my God, dude, it's not
It
funny.
was it was horrible. He was in his tent. It was a Bolt fuel guy. I'll never forget that. And they called the Broken Arrow on the radio. I'm like, we're in North Carolina. What is going on? Sure enough, like the A driver, I guess, didn't see him, and the Humvee just like ran him over. And I'm like, man, that. And so it opened up a new fear. I still had like 2 years left on contract, and I like any type of night maneuvers. I'm like, you better check if somebody's laying there. I ain't killing nobody.
I had went to ITX with 2-1 and one of their HE operators drove over a guy that was sleeping under like the Amtrak or like sleeping in between the wheels of the Amtrak or what are they called the big forklift things?
Dude, I can't think of what they call them. The ones that articulate in the middle.
Yeah, we had them a bunch at Seventh.
I can't remember what they call them.
But anyway, they had a guy get ran over by those, and at night they were so dead set on everybody having their glow belt on. It was the biggest deal. Like at night, everybody has a glow belt. Like as soon as you leave, it was just. I mean, I understand, but it was like Jesus Christ, man. They were serious about it. Did y'all do that too, Joe? Did you make everybody have like glow belts on at night? You're like nobody's ever gonna get ran over again.
How are you
Well,
gonna be? What do you do to your glow belt is gonna glow through your fucking tent?
I
Like,
don't know.
yeah. No, we didn't do that. I just remember it being like, oh my gosh, something horrible happened, and it was
Yeah.
a service guy, and I don't know, that was sad, and what a bad way to go.
fuck.
Now I feel bad for roasting fucking bolt fuel the other day.
Oh, dude, it's
Damn
all
it.
right.
Well, let's move on. We're gonna work our way into some of your post service stuff here in a minute. But so
Cool.
you say you got out as a 3-ribbon warrior. So you had your
Yeah,
national defense, GWAT,
yeah,
and then good cookie.
good cookie. Yeah, and that was it.
Man,
If
you
it
should get
wasn't an accomplishment, they wouldn't award it, by the way.
That's what I'm
About the
thinking.
good cookie, like somewhere in the annals of history, they were like, God damn, these junior Marines keep fucking up. We got to do something. We got to give them something for the 1 out of 10 that are not fucking up. And it's like, now it's so bastardized, everybody gets a good cookie, but it really is an accomplishment. It's like what it's turned into is how long have you gotten away with it? With it in general. Like, how long have you outsmarted the duty NCO? Oh, 3 years? Here you go. Bing, bang, boom. Here's a medal.
Who's the fella on the good cookie?
Dude, Ronnie Johnson, dude, is fucking world's handsomest Marine, 1904.
Is that true?
No, I don't. Who
Yeah.
is there an answer to that question?
Pretty sure it's Smedley Butler.
No, dude, hang on. Chat GPT will know.
No, it won't.
Who is the dude on the USMC Good Conduct Medal? Dude, Chat GPT will know. Stand by. Oh
Tucker
man, can't he
Carlson.
said smelly butter, dude. I think I got it wrong. No, it says that figure on the U.S. Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal is a generic Marine, not a real identified individual. The medal's obverse, World War I era Marine, service uniform holding a rifle, discipline, fidelity, honorable service. The persistent rumor that it's Chesty Puller, but they never identified. It looks like the classic hard Marine archetype. I don't know. I'll ask, are you sure it's not Smedley Butler? Dude, it's gonna say actually. Nope, it's sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, thank you for finding out. It is an accomplishment, though. Jesus. Like, I remember a month out before I got mine. I was like, I'm not hanging out with y'all anymore. Like, I'm so close. Yeah. And I didn't have a lot of ribbons either. I only had one more because I had my sea service because I was in Okinawa for 2 years. It's like, shit, I want to have one more. And I was like, I can't chance this anymore, guys. Like, I'm so close. Big accomplishment, though, really, in the Marine Corps, especially for enlisted Marines. Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
So why'd you get out of the Marine Corps?
I was ready to get out. Well, my daughter had a big play in that. I didn't see any kind of real ability to have a true impact in her life and stay in and be moving around, PCSing and all that. I didn't know how that would look with custody and all that. And I wanted to go to school. I was ready to get out and go to school. I went to this MASP program. I don't even know what the name of it was. It was like a Marine something service program.
Is it troops
Oh,
to truckers,
academic.
dude?
What's that?
Troops to truckers, dude, for 18 wheelers?
Similar,
Tight,
similar.
tight.
But I went to that. I was recommended for it, and there was an ex-Marine there teaching it. He's teaching the math portion, and not to be all like sentimental or anything, but that guy was the first person in my entire life who said, "Hey, you're a smart guy," and that meant a lot to me. And I'm like, so taking that, I'm like, I think I want to go to school after that. And he told me, he's like, man, you should. You're good at this, so that's what you should do. And sure enough, about 3 months later, I got out, and I have that guy to thank for it. Really, the littlest things, will change your lives in a lot of ways. And that guy changed my life just by saying that simple things like you're a smart guy, you can go to college. So,
Dude,
yeah,
that's part of being a man. You're like in the gym or something, and you'll be thinking about this accolade some bro said to you 10 years before. Like,
yeah,
hell yeah. You get it
yeah,
so seldomly, means a whole
yeah,
bunch.
for sure, man, for
Yeah.
sure.
That's cool, man. Did the Marine Corps offer you any type of incentives to stay in?
They did. They offered me a $26,000 cash bonus, and I told the what was it? I can't remember
Career planner?
the career planner. Yeah, and I told him no. You can offer me your rank, and I'm not staying in. He's like, fair enough, sign here, man.
Bro,
Dang.
26 grand. When I reenlisted, I would have did some heinous shit for 26 grand. Like here, hey man, we know you're here to reenlist, but we wanted to slide this little check across the table. Oh, you want me to slash whose tires, dude? I got you, bro. I'll be in the parking lot. Give me that pocket knife.
That would have been the craziest night at Driftwood that you
Oh my
could ever
God, dude.
possibly imagine. My God.
26 grand. Yeah, an enlisted Marine is not to be trusted with a fucking lump sum like that.
No.
No, I'm kind of glad I didn't get it. I don't know. I may have died. I don't know.
That's crazy though. They didn't offer me a damn thing. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
nothing. There was
What about
nothing.
you, Matt? Did they offer you anything as intel?
Fuck no, when I joined, they were giving lap movers 90 grand, 70
yeah.
grand or 90 grand to lap move into Intel. And then right when I got out, like they were raising cutting scores and things like that. There's like get the hell out, everybody go.
Dude, Marine Corps boat spaces are like traffic on the turnpike. Like it opens way up and everything zooms way forward. There's bonuses, yep, yep, yep. And one person taps the brakes. And it's just like, oh, we got too many assholes. Dude, we got too many dudes in this MLS. We got to get them out. We got to get them out. They're offering VERP and they're offering, I got a severance. I got severance pay when I got out. And then I had to fucking back pay it through my disability. They're like, here you go. They were going to give me, they were going to give me like 25 G's for severance. But because I had been NJP'd like within 18 months of my EAS, they cut it in half. So they gave me like 12 and a half. And then, it's all taxed to shit. And then when I got my disability rating like 8 months later or whatever, they're like, we'll write you a check whenever you break the balance here. It's like my back pay for disability covered a lot of it. Um, but then it was still, I don't know. You remember, Maynard? It was like 3 or 4 months after I got my letter before I got a check.
No, I
No,
don't
you should have
remember
just formed a Somali daycare LLC and they wouldn't have taken
Nice.
any of that money.
Dude, I have so much FOMO about that. Like, I gotta go Monday. Well, tomorrow's a holiday, dude. Everything's closed. I gotta go Tuesday and get my daycare LLC.
Yeah.
So you talked about it a little bit earlier, Joe, but in hindsight, would you have stayed in?
No, no, I would not have. I would have got out. And I've thought about how that would have been going to just like the line level, battery level as a higher ranking guy, but not really knowing their job. I think that would have been kind of strange. And I'm sure people do it all the time. I mean, but I think about maybe, let's say if you lap moved, let's say to the infantry or something, you would have some Lance Corporal there, you're a sergeant or a corporal or whatever who knows so much more than you, and then you've got to pretty much start over, develop that respect all over again. That would have been difficult.
We had a lat mover at Bravo 1-1 that was he, what was he before he lat moved to infantry?
Field mess.
Dude, oh fucking way. He was a
Yep.
chowtard, no way, dude. It's all coming full circle. He sucked and he had bad hygiene and his teeth fell out at one point during the deployment. And then I think he was a mortarman. But we didn't really have that much work for mortarmen. And so he was stepping out on patrols with the rest of the riflemen, like, biblically accurate Marine Corps type shit. And they got on one patrol and he was just having a booger of a day. He took his fucking flak off and sat down in the middle of Kajaki, Afghanistan, and was like,
Said I quit.
I quit, leave me here. And they're like, what the fuck do you mean, dude? You
Oh
can't,
my God.
like, what are you talking about? You can't, I quit, bro. We can't leave. What do you mean? And he's like, I'm not walking back. I'm not going back. That was before his teeth fell out. When they got him to come back, they got him to put his shit on, his kit on, and walk back to the fob or whatever. And then then he just had post. Like he was just, most of the grunts would have like 8 hours of post and then a patrol card period where it's like 8 hours. They might patrol, whatever, and then rest time. But he just had post on post on post. And then he got to where he quit brushing his teeth and his front teeth fell out in Afghanistan. His front teeth like beep boop popped out. It was fucking crazy.
My God.
Yeah,
Jeez.
but yeah, so he came to the infantry as a corporal and held no billet of
Yeah, dude,
significance
they
because
immediately
why?
put a Lance Corporal in charge of him. He was like,
Yeah,
yes, Lance Corporal type shit.
yeah.
God, that's awkward in the infantry, though.
Oh,
I remember,
for
like,
real.
I attached to him so much, and then when you have like a corporal saying like, "Yes, Lance Corporal," you're like, "Oh my God," you gotta like look away. It feels awkward. Infantry's fucking wild.
It's like watching your mom hit your dad whenever a corporal's telling, yes, Lance Corporal.
Something like that. Um, okay, so you knew you wanted to go to school when he got out, but did you have any type of other plans, Joe?
Not really. No, it was a concept of a plan, I guess. I just wanted to get out, and I knew I wanted to go to school. Learned about the GI Bill my last year, so I did not know a GI Bill existed until I started thinking about getting out. I'm like, hey, I'm going to do that. It sounds like a good gig. Sure enough, it was.
Was MTSU the first school you went to when you got out?
It was, yeah,
Was
yeah.
it Hood
Hood.
down there? Was it fucking Hood?
It was. It was a lot of fun though. It was a good time. Actually,
Hey, experiences vary, apparently. I've heard mixed reviews.
well, it was interesting. I'll say that. We didn't spend a lot on rent, but we kind of paid for it in different ways. I lived with Maynard actually when I got out and went to school, so it was a
Actually,
good
I think
time.
that makes us Eskimo brothers because I lived with them too.
No,
Yep, when I
nice.
went to OU, Brennan was my roommate. That's whenever I moved to Oklahoma. Because like Joe was my roommate, and we had two others. Steve, the taxidermist.
You know,
Yeah, and then our other buddy that I fought. Part of the reason why I ended up going to Oklahoma. We made up now. My knuckles are fused together forever, but
You made it like made up, bro. Like weird.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we totally made out. We're good now. But me and Joe would joke around because we never had a combat deployment. We're like, this is our combat deployment. It
you weren't too wrong. Yeah, that was a wild place.
they would be shooting and shit. And then I went on that storm chase to Alabama one time and I was coming back. And then I heard that dude get killed. And
Mhm.
there was always something going on. And then we had some crackhead that I was absolutely roasting. And then I open up the door. He's like right in front of our door. I'm like, motherfucker, he heard everything we just said about him. And then like me and Joe were like rigging up the apartment, like preparing for him to break in that night. We had like saran wrap on the fucking door. So he'd like walk into the saran wrap and we like shoot him to death.
You guys watch fucking Home Alone to get ready for
Yeah,
that?
for real, we didn't know, man. We were just trying to gear up. 'Cause
Goddamn,
it's
got
like,
a paint can at the top of the stairs and like a bunch
Should
of
have.
marbles at the bottom or what?
no, it was
Yeah.
ghetto. And then Joe
Sounds
was
like a Home
there.
Alone episode.
dude.
Joe
Sounds
was
like a
there
Home
when I
Alone
fought that.
montage.
He's
Yeah,
Macaulay
for real. It's
Culkin
what we
and his fucking roommate.
had like dumbbells. I put them in front of the door. Like, this is trip them up, man.
Do you hook
We were
your
ready to
welder up to the washing machine?
go. Joe was there. You know, I told you that fight where that girl stomped on my head and that chipped my teeth up. Yep, Joe was there. Had my back for
What the
sure.
fuck, Joe? You didn't, you
No,
know,
no, no. It was a fair fight. He was
what?
doing his deal. Joe, like, because otherwise I would have got jumped by the other buddy that was there. And then Joe
Mm.
was like holding it down. It wasn't Joe's fight to fight, though. And then more or less, he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you and all this other shit. And then,
Maynard is such a good friend that you can be an adult and like have children and shit, and he'll still drag you out in town and get you into a fist fight. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm
I didn't know
so,
she was gonna jump in, and there was a time there. It's like, am I gonna have to hit a lady? You know, I don't know. It was tough to contemplate.
yeah, my molars are still chipped from where she was fucking stomping on my head. Yeah, just good times. That was just the rough area, though. I mean, we didn't have a lot of money, and then it was like the cheapest apartments in Murfreesboro. But there's a big mass exodus from Memphis, so it was like a lot of the people living or leaving Memphis were coming to Murfreesboro,
Yeah.
and it just made it rough as hell. And then our neighbors were just crazy. We had an alcoholic neighbor who had had 3 DUIs, so he had a roller skate everywhere.
You know.
You know, yeah, you
Oh
remember
yeah.
that? Yeah, and that dude, I think he drank what, like two or three Bud Light 40s every night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Minimum.
yeah, always up to something. Then he got robbed one time in his own car from
Yeah.
another neighbor, and
You
he
can
was,
be
yeah,
pissing so much off of like 340s of bud, dude.
he's a weird guy, man. It's just a weird apartment complex. The neighbors upstairs, like on the third deck, would like cut their weave off of the third deck and it like
Mm.
land in front of our balcony. So I'd have to like pick up weave clippings. True story. I'm not making that up. But I was like trying to
Oh.
keep it nice. Like I wanted our little porch to be nice. And then like they would dump out like their leftover ramen in front of our balcony and shit. I'd be mad as fuck about it. We made the best out of it. We had good times though. We go get some beers and just hang out. And then one night I got way too drunk. Yeah, Joe about had to shoot me. Long story. He can't fight anymore. Am I allowed to tell this part,
Oh
Joe?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe cannot fight. And I was gonna basically fight Joe one time, but he has a medical condition. What's your condition called?
It's a factor five lesion, and I had blood clots in my lungs, and then I had one in my brain, in my cerebellum. So now I just got to take blood thinners, like basically for the rest of my life, which is not. I mean, it is what it is.
But Joe, as somebody with a losing record, I will say, when you grow up into being an adult, it's important to stop fighting fucking everybody all the time because sometimes they just beat the unholy fuck out of you anyways. So
Oh
just
yeah.
don't even
Well,
sign. Don't even sign. You
No,
might be signing for a L. You might not. Just don't even sign. Like, fuck it, dude. I'm going home. I don't
no,
yeah.
want to
Joe.
fight you.
Really, if Joe didn't have the blood clotting disorder, he should have beat my ass because I was being reckless with the firearm. I'll spare the details because I know my mom's going to listen to this. Um, but no, he was right. They were all right. I was way too drunk and belligerently rowdy. And then I legitimately sucker punched the other roommate and that broke my knuckle. And then that's why they're fused together now. Anyway, I fucked that way up. My bad, Joe. Sorry I put you through that.
Oh no, man.
I did. I think I've apologized long ago about this.
So my name is Earl shit going on right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But God, I don't know. I'm trying to think of any other fights I got in Murfreesboro at the time, but no, yeah, but it's just rough. We were in the hood, typical hood shit. Good times. We were
Good
poor
times.
college
Yeah.
kids. We just had fun. We were chilling all the time. So, did you know that you like when you're exiting the Marine Corps? Do you already know that you were accepted to MTSU?
Yes. Yeah. I
Okay.
applied while I was still in the Marine Corps, and that was the game plan: get out. But I had a whole semester there to do nothing essentially. So I worked construction a little bit and tried to make whatever money I could before college started. That was a lot of fun. Learned a lot doing that.
Yeah, I know that or knew that I was going to get accepted to MTSU too. It was the only university that accepted me. I was like applying for the University of Tennessee. I think I applied to Vanderbilt. And they're like, "Yeah, sorry, you're an idiot. Like you made a 20 on your ACT." And then MTSU was like, "Yeah, we'll take you." And I was like, "No fucking way." And then ended up doing pretty good there. It was a good school, dude. In hindsight, MTSU was nice and good. I learned a lot there. I thought it was like a good school.
Same, likewise.
Yeah. And then you later on, so you do your bachelor's at MTSU and then you have to go to law school in Knoxville, right?
Yeah, yeah. I ended up going to law school after MTSU. Took the LSAT my last year in MTSU, and then went to law school. Which was odd because at MTSU I was like a veteran among many, but in law school there were like no veterans at all. And there's some like imposter syndrome there where it's like, man, they're gonna find me out for the fucking idiot I am, and they're gonna kick me out of here, and I don't belong with these people. But then, kind of like the Marine Corps, esprit de corps, what we always kind of made fun of when we were in. I'm like, you can do this. The Marine Corps is prepared you to do hard things, and that kind of kept me going from a mindset level. Um, and then when the bar comes around, it's like, all right, I graduated law school. Are they going to find me out as the imposter now? And it's like, no, you know how to adapt and overcome. They taught you how to do this. So pass the bar, and then went into work. And now I'm just practice and trying my best.
Right on. Did you find transitioning out of the Marine Corps hard or easy?
I thought it was hard. I thought it was hard because in the military, and I'm sure you guys know, it's like everybody has their place in the military. Everybody has their role in the military, and then in real life, civilian life, people overstep roles or they don't really. I don't know. They don't understand the kind of like discipline that I think in my mind it takes to be a human being. And that gets frustrating sometimes, especially when those people become your colleagues and those people become the people that you got to work with because you're so used to people being like and it doesn't matter black, white, whatever, they are you because you're all Marines too. It's just like a free for all out here. So
Yeah.
that was an odd transition.
So did you like when you got out of the Marine Corps? Oh, and I'm gonna say like my example. So like, were you disappointed when you got out? Like for me, like I had hyped it up so much in my mind, like I cannot wait to be back. Like it's gonna be so great, and then you get back and it's kind of not. And I was like super disappointed with what I thought society was. Was that kind of you too, or?
It was, and for some reason, I remember just being scared. If that makes any sense at all, because it's like I don't know, like I don't know what to do. It you go from the super structured life to all of a sudden you have like an expanse of everything, and it was almost overwhelming. It's like I don't know where to go, how to act, what to do anymore. So it was like a scary experience more than I would say like a deflating experience, maybe like you had.
That's
Man,
fair.
I got out and I made a checklist of shit that I needed to do just moving back to Oklahoma. And it
Hmm.
was like a fucking foot long. It's simple shit, like get your license changed to back to Oklahoma, get your license plate changed back, whatever. But it was like 100 fucking things like that. And it seems like stupid or whatever. But like, holy shit, in the Marine Corps, you make a checklist and it's like, go to PX, fucking get away with hazing charges, like get a haircut, dude, fucking make sure your barracks room is locked. And like that checklist, I was like, man, if I don't do this, I'm gonna get a ticket and it's gonna cost me $200 I don't have. Like, I feel you, dude. There's some overwhelming type of moments. And probably the part that's like the most overwhelming about it, and like far be it from me to say anything nice about Maynard, but thanks, Maynard, was like you go from every day having a road dog to do shit with. Like, hey man, I gotta go to fucking dispersing for some stupid thing. Like, oh, I gotta go too, I'll ride with you in the battalion building to like, I guess I'm just gonna go fucking ride out and do this. Like I gotta drive up to Tulsa or I gotta go down to Ardmore or whatever and go do these things. You just kind of fucking on your own program. And it's weird. You're on big boy hours for real. And I never was at a place in a unit in the Marine Corps where they had big boy hours. Like it was always like, hey, we always had like 5 formations a day and shit. And so like getting out and having big boy hours and trying to make your own schedule and get everything done on time was like it was close to overwhelming. Then you get the perspective, you get a slight glimpse back into the perspective of things, and it's like none of this shit's that serious. I can do 2 or 3 of these things today. I can do 2 or 3 of these things tomorrow. I still got time to go fishing this afternoon, dude. It's fine.
Do you think, Joe, that the Marine Corps like taught you some skills that made you successful as a civilian, or did you have to like shrug some stuff off, like I can't fight anybody in the wood line anymore, or
Right. Yeah, I think so. Definitely a mindset thing. It's they teach you to push forward and kind of embrace the shitty aspects to things instead of, and like we had said before, it like compels you to action. So that helps and has helped and always will help. It's very easy, and I think all of our minds kind of, or human beings in general, they're going to take the path of least resistance, but we've all collectively taken the path of most resistance. So being the one contrarian that stands out and does the hard things that people may not want to do, that is a Marine Corps trait that has definitely helped. And of course, the just overall like living with honor type thing. Again, I thought it was, kind of something that we joke around about. Like, man, that's kind of gay. But no, now that I'm out, I'm like, I can see why they taught us this, because it helps. And sometimes I don't become conscious of it till later, and I'm like, man, I did something really freaking hard. And I don't know that I would have that kind of drive if I wasn't a Marine.
Yeah, I find it scary even trying to imagine how life would have played out if I didn't join the Marine Corps. Like I don't even want to think about it. It's almost impossible.
Well,
It's not, I don't feel like I'm stupid, but I feel like the Marine Corps, it's almost like I didn't have too much sense, you know? Like I was smart enough, whatever. But like I didn't have shit for sense. Like had some common sense, but the Marine Corps teaches you like horse sense, where it's like common sense is like, okay, well, don't touch the fucking stovetop. But horse sense is like the stovetop's hot and I'm after a pot of coffee, dude, I'll boil some water while it's hot, kind of thing. And so like if it wasn't for the horse sense that the Marine Corps give me, I don't know if I sure as fuck wouldn't have identified some of the opportunities that I've identified and seized on, like in my professional life that it would no, I don't know how many other people would have identified the things. I don't want to get too into the weeds about it, but like I got pretty lucky with where I'm at professionally, and it was just from keeping my eyes peeled and being like, well, this could mean that, and if I did both of those things, then this third thing could happen. And that, like the Marine Corps teaches you to take a holistic look at a situation in that way, I feel like.
for
for sure.
sure. I think for me and Joe, just getting out of Crossville when you're 18 years old is just a godsend. If you can get out and have just a second opportunity at life, that's a big deal. Now I know you're back in Crossville now, Joe, but I mean you left, you come back better, but like versus had you not gone in the Marine Corps, probably would have been like me, wouldn't have ever gone to college. I didn't even want to go to college till the first day I got to Paris Island. I was like, oh Jesus Christ, I should have fucking went to college. I fucked this
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah. Messed that way up. But you gotta like you learn lessons in life the best when you have to learn them hard. So I'm just
Expensive
thankful.
lessons are valuable lessons, dude, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes, they
So
are.
what gave you peace, Joe? So you talk about the Marine Corps, getting out of the Marine Corps is kind of scary or like just building it up. And it is scary, like even when you get out, I do feel like at times I was scared too. It's like, oh my God, I got to pay for this and that. But like, what's giving you peace when you get
Mm.
out?
Honestly, just knowing I did the best I could, knowing I didn't really shortcut anything. And as a man, it's like, yeah, there's a lot there, and man, he made it. So that's given me peace. I know Brendan mentioned that about the fights. I've got a losing record as well, and it's like I went in there and I swung, and that's figuratively and literally. I went in, I swung, and that chapter doesn't end because your service ends, and you continue to be a Marine. You're always a Marine. I'm going to put corporal on my gravestone, and it's like the mission has shifted, to now that instead of like an actual battle, it's more of a courtroom battle. Or maybe I help some lady who might have been falsely accused, or I help, some kid that I have in DCS court, change his life, or maybe even direct him into some military aspect. So,
Hey,
um,
Marine Corps or jail, but you got to bring that back for us, Joe.
yeah, and
You got to
should.
bring that back for us. Tell these judges.
It might be, man. It might be a new thing. Um,
That was how it was, dude. There was a kid I went to high school with. I was taking the ASVAB with him. I'm like, I didn't know you were gonna join. He's like, yeah, man. The judge told me like I can either join the military or go to jail. And then they wrote out or like read out what each person they thought made on their ASVAB, and he had made an 11
oh,
on his. I shit you not.
He's the perfect bulk
For
fueler, dude.
I thought he was kind of a smart dude, and he made 11. And dude, I'm pretty sure they sent his ass to jail. I don't think he could get an ASVAB waiver with all that, but like, you still got to be a little bit smart. Like, if you can't make a 32, damn, Jesus.
I'm asking
Yeah,
Chat GPT what's the minimum
I think they dropped it down to be a 28 now for the Marine Corps.
ASVAB score
It
to
was
qualify
32
for
when
bulk
I
fuel.
joined.
Bulk
Let's
fuelers are
see.
ASVAB waivers, dude. So are fucking Amtrackers.
Wait a minute. Overall, minimal 32
hmm.
for bulk fuel. That's the composite score or whatever, though. They
Yeah, I
need
think
a
your MOS is based off of like your GT,
Yeah.
like the
they yeah,
line
that
scores, not your overall
The
ASVAB.
GT minimum is 32. But this says dude, this says their score is at least 85. What? For bulk? What? Fucking Chat GPT doesn't know what it's talking about. There's not a number that big in bulk fuel. They don't know the
No.
numbers that big.
Or trackers. Amtrackers,
Ugh.
AVs. No, that and the carbon monoxide is going to lower their IQ
Dude,
drastically within the
fries
first
them.
few weeks anyway. So yeah,
Fries them, dude.
no
They're
sense in
never gonna
seeing.
recover.
And then mess, what's it called if you're a chow marine? A
Field
mess,
mess.
field mess. My God.
Dude,
ASVAB waivers.
our chow tart in Australia got caught red-handed putting Visine in the chow.
Hmm.
And there was like one of the boots was like, Sergeant Clark, this Corporal whatever was putting Visine in the chow. And I was like, oh fuck, man. It's like we might have to beat this guy's ass in the field, and then we're gonna get in trouble if like first sergeant's not gonna understand. And then the boot went and told first sergeant as this like we squad leaders were around and trying to find the chow guy. So first sergeant got to him first, and they gave him a company NJP. But then was his boot was mad about it. I can't remember what the whole details was. They didn't get his ass beat initially for it, which that's the most if there was ever a reason that somebody needed to get their ass beat in the field, that's chief amongst them. Like you're in the fucking outback and the chow guy's trying to give you all a week of hot, violent diarrhea. But his boot was mad specifically about that and waited till he got zipped up in his fart sack one night and then beat his ass while he was zipped into his fart sack and broke his arm. And we all thought that was pretty funny. Chow guys.
Jesus. All right, let's get back on track. So, Joe, if you could go back in time and give yourself any advice about getting out of the Marine Corps, what advice would you give yourself?
Definitely to take more pictures while you're there. Because I think about this stuff sometimes, and I'm like, man, I miss Treywick or Shotman or some of those other guys. And then, two, even though we spent so much time together, spend more time with your buddies. 'Cause, gosh, you really don't think about it when you're in there, because geographically, you're all from different places, and you're all going back to those places, and it doesn't really kick in until you get out. So, I would say, I would say spend even more of your free time with those guys because man, you're gonna miss the shit out of them, and I do, and miss them every day.
That taking pictures piece is so real. Like, you're in the field and you're taking pictures in the field and somebody's like, hey, you fucking boot, put your
Yep,
stupid camera away, you fucking queer.
yep,
But like, I have fucking like 8 pictures of me doing shit in the Marine Corps, and I was in for 8.5 fucking years.
yeah.
Same.
And probably look at those same eight all the time. Just
Oh
like,
my God, yeah, dude.
All right, Joe. Well, I think we got a little bit of time left. If you're good on time to ask you some bonus questions, you still got a few more minutes. We can just ask you some just random questions, get your thoughts on different
yeah,
things.
fire away.
All right, I'm going to go first. I'm going to ask you one here. Where do you see America in the next 50 years?
Oh, yeah. Man, we're either going to be the most prosperous country known to man, or we are going to be really, really subservient to China. And either one of them is a strong possibility in my mind.
Hey, ni hao, bro, ni hao.
Yeah.
What would make us prosperous? What do you mean by that?
Well, we do what we always do. We kind of win the race here. I know AI is the big thing right now, and we come out on top in that regard and find a way to kind of sneak around China and Russia and these other world powers. Or we lose. I don't know. But yeah, I think technological control would make us prosperous over China, especially with the AI race that we got going on.
That's fair.
And is that what you mean by us being subservient to China? They would
Yes,
have won?
yes. Like they
Gotcha.
end up winning the race. They end
Yeah.
up winning the tech race here, and their sheer numbers kind of beat us out.
Let's say we win. What with the AI model? What does life look like? This is my last question. I don't have an answer to it, but what do you think?
I
Like,
don't either. As far as overall GDP, maybe we get more money from that and control the data in the data centers and ultimately can maybe reimburse some of that money. But I honestly, I don't know either. That's really tough because I'm not sure. I'm not sure,
I
man.
doubt we would ever get reimbursed. What'll probably happen is like unemployment jumps up to like 47%, and then it's just like there is who knows. I don't think we'll be sitting pretty in 50 years. I hope we are for the sake of my daughter. I'm just not super optimistic about it.
Dude, if
Um,
unemployment becomes cool, I'm quitting my job again, dude.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hey, that's what Elon Musk said the other day when he was talking in Saudi Arabia. He said, "Oh, people won't even have to work in 20 years." Maybe he's going to just give us all that money. I don't know. I really doubt it. But all right, next question for you here, Joe. Who or what do you see as the biggest threat to the American people today?
Is America. Like, we are our own threat. The divide itself is our own threat. The polarization is our own threat. And I'm sure everyone has dealt with it. But we've really gotten to the extremes here, I think, on the far right, far left. ICE is really big right now. America itself, man, has got to be the answer to that. And I think there was actually some world leader who said that. I can't remember the exact quote, but they're basically like, yeah, America will be destroyed from the inside. So I think the overall polarization would be the biggest threat to us.
I would describe us as being in a culture war. Some would say civil war, but at the very least, a culture war. How do you think that ends? Like the divide, how do you think that ends?
Generally, some major event, as some kind of horrible act of violence where we're kind of forced to see how bad it can get before we come together. What that is, I don't know. 9/11, it really got people together. Something along those lines may restructure this country. Right now, we're very very like off to the sides, but it's nothing new. I mean, we fought a war against each other, and we have always had differences of opinion. I think some kind of major world event like a 9/11 or maybe even a JFK type event is going to have to occur to get people pulled back more towards a centrist middle.
You think disclosure would do that? And I don't mean UFO disclosure. I mean, if the government acknowledged that Sasquatch was real, do you think that that would?
That would definitely be a step in the right direction, Brendan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see. Hey, they talked about it on the internet yesterday.
You don't even know who Jeff fucking Meldrum is, dude. Sit down.
All
All
right,
right.
last question here for you, Joe. What do you think America's doing right? What do you think America's doing wrong?
Mm.
Okay. the Greenland stuff is definitely wrong. It's just a specific example, in my opinion. In my opinion, do we need to invade Greenland? No, we do not. And of course, that's kind of popular right now, so it's on my mind. Um, right would be military power. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. We have the largest military to basically go toe to toe with God. But what are we doing wrong? I think we're subjecting the weaker, or I would say weaker, but I would say marginalized communities, and we're subjecting them to stuff that we really shouldn't. I think this anti-immigration, and I'm not like a bleeding left liberal. I'd consider myself more conservative than anything, but I think like what we're seeing now with the anti-immigration is pointing at a common enemy, and it's really punching down and not addressing our own problems in this country, which we never really had. We've always had somebody to be like, "Oh, it's these guys," it's not me, So it might be a introspection or a reflection type thing that we're doing wrong. I don't know, and we're still a young nation. I think comparatively, there's some stuff we've got to figure out. So what we're doing wrong now may not even manifest for another 30 to 50 years. But we've been able to look back and say, well, slavery was wrong, or Jim Crow was wrong, or I don't know. There's a history of being able to look back and say that was wrong. What it is right now, it's got to be the blaming of the immigrant community, in my opinion. And y'all may disagree with that, and that's fine. You can be wrong.
It's not a right or wrong answer. I mean, who knows? We got problems, though. We've got problems. Got to come together.
Yes.
That common enemy part, shoot, it does work. But damn it, when we don't have one, I joke with these two guys. I'm like, America sucks when we're not at war, and we just beat each other up like a common enemy. But geez, who is our common enemy? Like you talk about the Greenland stuff. I mean, that's gonna be hard to be like, yeah, fuck those guys, like all those Greenlanders up there fucking with us. I don't know.
All 10,000 of them. We need to unite against a real common enemy, a real threat, somewhere like Texas. We need to unite against the
Yeah,
Texans.
yeah.
Nothing worse. How you know somebody's from Texas, they'll fucking tell you, dude, shut up, I don't care.
What's your apprehension with Greenland?
Well, the biggest part of it is using our strength against, like you said, a country of I don't know if 10,000 is the correct number,
It's
but
60,000.
yeah, against knowingly weaker opponents. It's like one of those things. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because the resources might be there, it doesn't mean it's morally correct. That's my apprehension against it. Sometimes a Greenland has to exist simply because we're doing the right thing. And by invading them and taking resources, and maybe you can even make this argument against or with Venezuela. You don't just we're not a world police, and we're also not colonists either. So that's why I don't know. That my apprehension would be let them keep their independent anonymity and let's worry about America.
I see Greenland as a national security issue that we'll have to deal with in 30, 40, 50 years. With sure, there's a lot of resources there. So you could say there could be benefits to us having control of Greenland, but China really wants the Northern Sea route, and it's thawing. It has been thawing. So recently, shipping cargo ships can make it through there in some months of the year, and so that would be key to China's Belt and Road Initiative to for Europe. So it would shave weeks of time off of having to get a container ship from China to Europe if they use that thought out Northern Sea route. But also, more to the national security piece, once that is thawed, you could start lobbing ballistic missiles into America from that, what is now an ice wall. Once it's thawed, it's, you know, it now becomes a strategic vulnerability.
Okay.
I think that's like 10% of the issue. Really, I think it's like the Venezuela thing where like Maduro's pumping a bunch of drugs in there And then when we took them out, it was like all oil. And I don't think Trump mentioned drugs one time in that speech when he was like, we got him or whatever. And I was like, oh, damn it. I think it's national security is always like that one thing, that I think Americans can get behind. Like, yeah, America definitely needs to be more secure. But I think Greenland and Denmark would let us do whatever we needed to do on the island to protect America. I think it's just those rare earth minerals, in my opinion. I think we used to have like up to 7 different bases on Greenland, if I'm not mistaken, during the Cold War that we ended up closing down.
They've made some whoopsies with strategic air command bases and nuclear armed aircraft that lived in Greenland. There was a accident or two. They did a bad job. The U.S. government did a bad job cleaning up the mess, and it kind of drove us. The Greenland and the Danish were like, we don't want you here no more because you make the fucking nuclear ice or whatever. And so we kind of pulled our stuff back. They were like, well, it's not as useful to have a bunch of dudes there if they're not supporting the Strategic Air Command piece. And I can't think of what the name of it was, like a long-standing deterrence mission where they were doing flights every day, and I can't think of what it was called. It's like Operation Gaslight or some shit. I can't remember. Anyway, it had to do a lot with that, with our drawdown from Greenland. It wasn't as much as obviously, like, the drawdown occurred slowly before the end of the Cold War, and then it was all of a sudden there was like, we don't have any reason to do this anymore. But from I think the 50s and the 60s, they did have a ton of bases operating aircraft and like surveillance type, radar, whatever, stuff like that. Strategic Air Command, this is nuclear triad piece.
I don't know. We'll see about it. It's out of our hands. I mean, there's literally nothing we could do. Not a damn thing
Yeah,
we could do.
it's out of our hands, and I don't think I will never uh believe a politician when they say we're going to do this for national security, because whatever, there's no good reason to look for that. And the other piece is I would tend to agree with you that it's probably mostly about resources, natural resources, but we have so much over here that's not being exploited. So I don't know. If we take over Greenland, all of a sudden they're going to be like, hey, there's a frozen ice melt that, we have to protect. So, don't drill there. We're not going to extract any resources. Something, something fake and gay like that too, that, precludes us from drilling here in the
Oh,
continental US anyways.
the resource piece makes me think of AI and data centers, and it's like if the purpose of a system is its purpose or whatever, and you're gonna have to bear with me on this. If so
And what it
we gotta
does.
win we gotta win the AI race. Allegedly, people keep saying that, but we're not, like, the DOE, the government is not fast tracking building nuclear reactors. The every other presidency shits or opens up drilling, either closes off enormous sections of public land to drilling or opens up enormous sections of public land. It's a yo-yo shit. But we're going to lose the energy race, which is the energy race is fundamental to the AI race. We're going to lose that if we don't do this nuclear energy piece. And so, like, I don't know how serious any of these politicians are about resources. If they were serious about it, they would be spamming uranium mines, and they would be refining the shit out of it, and they would be building nuclear reactors instead of natural gas fired reactors, because the easiest way to look at that is like every dollar spent is the token that represents energy put into something. And like Russia and China have super cheap labor. Their labor is free. They use slaves. And we don't. We have to pay for labor. And also they have super cheap energy because they've nationalized these energy projects. And China's building coal refineries like you wouldn't believe. And here we could maximize this nuclear piece and stay caught up. And they're not doing it. So I'm the same. I don't believe that's why I don't believe, like, Matt doesn't believe the national security angle. I don't believe the resources angle, because the resources that they have, they're not using for what they say they need them for anyways. And so I don't know what the angle is. The national security angle got us into Iraq in 2003, and that was such a stupid, long, protracted waste of money. The natural resources angle, dude, we're not using the natural resources we have for what they should be used for. So, like, what actually is happening?
Mm.
It's weird.
Who
It's a
knows?
weird one. I've been scratching my head about it all week. I don't know what's going on with Greenland. I don't know. Is us controlling Greenland worth the fracture of NATO for it?
Yes.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Are you kidding? That was what I was gonna say next is maybe this Greenland thing is like
Or take it out.
a soft pressure to break NATO, which is super useful. Like break NATO, spread it to the winds, don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you never know when you're going to need Article 5. Not that I think like France or Germany would ever come to our aid if like the Russians invaded Alaska, but I don't know. I mean, I would
Having a
rather
NATO ally in the fight with you is like having two good allies not show up.
Yeah, I mean, I know y'all have seen it. Y'all have seen it. I worked with more non-NATO forces than I guess NATO forces, but yeah, I mean, for sure, we could hold our own without them. There's no doubt. It just makes you wonder. I don't know. This Greenland piece and then the AI. And Joe, if you get the chance to listen to my episode, mine came out, I did the same script as you here. And when I like the question, who or what do you see as the biggest threat to the American people? I said AI. I think AI is like the American people for sure, but it's like that unemployment. Like if we win that AI race,
Hmm.
we still lose. Like all the jobs that it's going to replace. I'm like, man, we really, that's why I'm not so sure about the next 50 years. A lot of problems going on. Brendan, Matt, any safe rounds for Joe?
I know everything I need to know about Joe now. Thanks, Joe.
Hey, thank you, Brendan. It's nice to meet you, man.
That's
Joe,
it
Pleasure.
for
you got any
me.
safe rounds?
That's it. Actually, no, last
Or
one. Is it true that you can put 614 king size Snicker bars in a 155? And have you done it?
I would say that is true, and I have not done it. I'm
Uh,
trying to think.
Yeah,
that's it for me then.
I would love
Right.
614 king size Snickers just around the house. I would love that.
I would too. I would too.
Joe, you got any safe rounds? Anything else you want to talk about, say, or?
I don't know. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a ton of fun. I love talking to Marines, and yeah, y'all are some good ones. I appreciate you.
Dude, thank you. Appreciate you coming on, being our very first, not one of us interviews. It was great, man. Low pressure. I was like, man, if I fuck this up, he don't think I'm any more retarded than he already does.
No,
Um,
you're a smart guy, and I've always known that, Dakota. Hey,
hey,
you've always been a smart guy.
hey, you too, Joe. You too.
Uh,
Well, man, we appreciate you being on big time. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Hey,
Thanks,
let's do
brother.
it sometime. Thank y'all.
All right. And
Good.
that's going to conclude the Joe Wyatt episode. Thank you all for listening and keep your powder dry.
The War Business Podcast is brought to you by Matthew Bruneman, Brendan Clark, and Dakota Maynard. Editing by Stephanie Maynard. The theme song is California Wind by Bruno E. The War Business Podcast cover art is the copyrighted property of the War Business Podcast. The book, War Business, The Hired Guns of Helmand Province, is copyrighted by Wargate Books. Wargate Books is not responsible or liable for any material or conversations produced and expressed by the War Business Podcast.